All right. All right, I think we're good and we're ready to start. So, welcome everyone. We are kicking off Camp Spekkio with Frog Week. Frog, of course, because that is Spekkio's weakest form. Kind of rare to see, at least in vanilla. We see him sometimes in jets. But today we're going to be teaching a lesson on the standard race flags. And this is kind of going to be the basic lesson. We're going to focus on a lot of the stuff you might want to know to be getting through seeds, and the techniques for saving lots of time will come later. Because for now, we want to make sure that you can fight Lavos. We want to make sure you know a lot of the ins and outs of the game that, without them, make it a lot harder. So before we get started on the actual seed, I'm going to go ahead and show off. Is that showing up? Okay, there it is. Show off the flag creation, or the flag set. So we're looking at actually beta.ctgot.com. A lot of our features are still in beta, but we really like them. And you'll click generate a seed here to get started. So what we're playing with today are our standard race flags. These are the flags that most of our modes are sort of built on top of. If you want to play dupe characters or boss rando, or both, generally they're built on top of this. Chronosanity usually built on top of these rules as well. So we have a few things here. So enemy difficulty and item difficulty set to normal. What that does is controls treasure and enemies. So item difficulty has 3. Easy means that you get better treasure from bosses and treasure chests. Hard means it's a little worse. Normal is just the standard. Enemy difficulty actually doesn't have an easy setting. We just have normal or hard for if you want to play on hard mode. Hard mode is more of a novelty flag lately. Not a lot of people play it. So in terms of our basic race flags, we went over the normal difficulty. We've got disable glitches. Disable glitches just disables a lot of the stuff that's used in a lot of the vanilla speedruns. The save anywhere glitch, for example, the unequip glitch. If you're not familiar with those, then you probably won't notice any difference. It's basically there so that we play the game instead of breaking it. The one exception is that menu glitch is allowed, but we will explain menu glitch when we get to it, because that's typically near the end of the game. Early pendant charge. Early pendant, normally you would charge the pendant at the Mammon machine in the Kingdom of Zeal. But that in Jets of Time, you're not going up into the Kingdom of Zeal until you're already in go mode. At which point do you really want to run all the way out of Zeal, through the skyways and everything? To then open all the treasure chests? You really don't. So the pendant charges once you have used it to unlock access to the future, and there's a text box that pops up that'll let you know. The next one that we're going to look at is Zeal 2 counts as last boss. So if you go through the Black Omen to finish the game, which is one of the go modes, and we'll talk about those in a second too, Zeal, her second form, will be your final boss. After you finish fighting her, you'll watch a cutscene. The reason for that is basically just to make it so that the separate go modes can be competitive with one another. If Ocean Palace go mode had, the 3-stage final boss plus the twin fight, okay, so there's 4 bosses. Black Omen would have something like, you'd have 3 bosses leading up to the final boss, 3 bosses leading up to Zeal, and then the 3 Zeal fights, including Mammon Machine, and then the 3 Lavos fights, which suddenly makes it like 9 bosses to 4. That's why you don't fight Lavos in the Black Omen, because it becomes more like 6 bosses to 4. And the Black Omen bosses are a little easier and there's more of them, so it balances out kind of that way. Let's see. The other standard flag in this mode is the tech randomization. Fully random. That is our default. That just means that every character is going to learn their techs in a randomized order. The techs are not randomized between characters. Everybody still has their own techs. So, you know, you find Luca, she's going to have her fire stuff. Chrono is going to have his lightning and sword stuff, as you would expect. If you're playing with duplicate characters, that does get slightly more complicated, but we will explain that when we get to it. The other one that I will draw attention to, though it's off, is unlocked magic. Unlocked magic means that you don't have to go visit Spekkio with characters who don't have native magic. So typically you do need to go visit Spekkio, and we will need to visit Spekkio today if we're using characters that need magic taught to them. But there is a toggle, and some modes like Lost Worlds will begin you with unlocked magic. Okay, now I'm going to go up here because we're playing with a couple other presets. There's actually tons of options right now, as you can see. But today, the only other thing we're playing with, it may not be on this tab. I think it's quality of life, actually. Yeah, we're going to be playing with fast tabs on. So fast tabs is a wonderful little feature. That just means, you know, when you normally pick up a tab, the game sort of freezes you until the fanfare plays. Well, now you get to move while the fanfare plays, and it just saves you a couple of seconds, and you don't have to stand there. We like it. The other one that's on today is free menu glitch. Menu glitch is where the screen fades out to black and you can press the menu button to open it when you normally shouldn't be able to, and we do rely on that for our final boss fights a lot. What free menu glitch does is it widens the window that you have to press the button, basically gives you some extra frames to do that input. And so free menu glitch is kind of, it might be a little controversial right now. It's still kind of in early testing. So we are providing it on the camp ROMs for right now, but we do want to know what people think, and if you're able to practice menu glitch on ROMs that don't have the free toggle turned on, for now that's recommended because I'm not sure exactly how quickly free menu glitch may or may not become standardized. So that's just a thing to think about. But for now, if you need it, go ahead and roll your practice ROMs with it turned on. That's fine. Okay, does anyone in the chat have any questions about the flag set before we move on? That's what we're playing with today, and this is very basic. Let's see. And if not, I will get started. Okay, I will get going in just a second. Oh, yeah, I'm just flipping back. All right, and on comms with me, so I'm lordbatsy, and I'm your camp counselor this week, and I've got Akuhaish on comms with me, who will be helping out and possibly fielding some questions from chat. So let's move back to the game. It should be up now. So when I get started, what we're going to get two characters, and most of you have probably played this at least once. So we're going to get two characters, as you know. We're going to take a look at what those two characters can do for us, and then I am going to start moving around the world doing a bunch of early game checks and pickups. So I'll be explaining that as I do it. The game begins when you select wait mode from your menu. And so standard play is always going to be in wait mode. You can play in active if it really tickles you, but we don't do that for a good reason. So that's completely up to you, but we will never force active mode on you. So I'm going to go ahead and count us down and get us started. So I'll just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, we are starting with Frog and Marl, and Note that you have to press A on wait mode there, but then you can mash start on the character name screens, because if you're hitting A, then you're going to name people, you know, Arog and our beloved Arono, for example. So, Frog and Marl. These are less desirable characters in the meta right now, for sure. I'm definitely going to pick up most of the characters during this run, so I'll show off all of the character pickups that we can do. And right up here, it's going to give us control. So I am going to start doing my, what I almost call just around the world. I want to check a couple of free key item checks. This randomizer has both character gating and item gating. I want to get some items, and I'm gonna do a quick grind in hopes to get some screen wiping text. Now this is not a bad shop. There's ethers. I usually buy 51. We start with 20,000 gold, as you can see, and I'm gonna get 5 shelters and 3 revives. Now, most people have their own sort of recipe for how many items they buy. I will repeat what I get at the end of my run. The next thing I do is stop at Xenon Bridge and talk to this guy, because that's what you need to do in order to be able to activate the Xenon Bridge quest in Guardia Castle. Next, we're going to come up to Guardia Forest. Now, the reason we're going to come to Guardia Forest is I'm going to get some levels. So the first thing I do before I fight is we're going to go onto the battle screen. Now, I usually come over here and turn my battle speed down to 3. 3 is about what I can handle right now. The lower numbers are faster. And this battle speed affects both your characters and the monsters. This is not like Final Fantasy VI where you can exploit it, sadly. And so battle speed should probably be about as fast as you can handle. But if you go faster than you can handle, it's just going to hurt you more than it helps you. So I'm going to leave it at 5 for now, for default. I'm going to turn text speed all the way fastest to 1, because that hurts nothing. And then I always come down and turn my window blue, because I'm really forgetful. So when I turn the window blue, I know that I did my menuing that I need to do here. The last thing I'm going to do is turn on Save Battle Cursor. This is not something that's on by default in Chrono Trigger, but it is really nice. The main thing it will do is it will save your battle cursor on either attack, tech, or item. It will also remember which tech or item you last used. But it gives you an extra feature, which is you can use your X button, which is your menu button, to do an auto attack. And then when you're auto attacking, you retain your cursor's memory if it's on tech or item, which is actually very helpful, because then you can have one button for attacking and another memory button for your other thing. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. This little intersection has a battle straight in the middle of the dirt, so just stay out of the middle, always hug the trees. I'm going to grab this power tab, and then I'm going to activate this fight. So I'm actually going to pause to explain one more thing, which is crit manip. So, a clean copy of Chrono Trigger that has never been played before, which every ROM is, every new ROM that we generate is a clean copy, is going to have its quote-unquote random number generator set in the same place. And this is because back in this era, they didn't really have truly random calculation that they used. They kind of had long lists of numbers that the game would shuffle through and use those numbers as seeds for all kinds of, you know, quote-unquote dice rolls and things like that. So, because this is a new copy, we know when some of these critical hits are going to go off. So, in your very first fight, your second and fourth hits will always go critical. And so you need to think about that usually. The reason I like to take this particular fight is that you can always do it in either 2 or 3 hits with most parties. I may, hopefully, okay, I'm going to need 3, because Marl, who is weak, gets a critical to go over 30 HP to kill that guy. And then I'm going to have Frog auto attack. Yeah, I've gotten it on the 6th before, but I feel like I've also not gotten it on the 6th attack, and I'm like never quite positive. So I fought that battle and I got some levels. And so the next thing I'm gonna do is come down here and up. And come in the top and take this fight. And so I can't really crit manip anymore, but Frog, after gaining levels, should be strong enough that he can one-shot a Rolly Rider. 30, perfect. Marl's gonna shoot that one in the back, and unless she gets a critical, which she did, okay. Then it, yeah. So if Marl hadn't gotten a critical on that Rolly Rider, I would have made sure to have Frog attack the other one too, so that we could finish off the battle in one more hit and not two. Now, our techs that we learned were not good. But that is the battle that will learn you 2 techs on each character, except for Magus. Magus requires more tech points. Cats are fighting. Magus requires more tech points to learn his first tech, in part because all of his are pretty powerful. I'm going to come over here and grab the shelter. So normally what we wanted from our techs, and I'll take a look at the tech menu here, is we want a screen wipe. Water 2 would have been good, but again, now that's 43 points away. Ice 2 also would have been good. Sadly, our wipes are on the 3rd techs, but there's a silver lining because the 3rd tech is the last tech that these characters are going to be able to learn before we visit Spekkio, so we're at least going to have these things at some point. So I'm going to leave the forest for now. I've done my grind. And there are a couple other grind spots that we can talk about, but I prefer that one because it's the most flexible with just about any team. Even Luca and Marl, which is probably the worst party to start with in terms of weapon strength. I mean, they're pretty good together, so it's not like the worst ever. But even they can handle that fight in only a couple of hits. So the next place I'm going to come up is Pori, because I'm going to continue looking at shops. So there's a power tab on the ground here. Earlier I bought revives and shelters and ethers, and those are 3 out of the 5 items I like to get. The other 2 are heals and mid tonics. Here's some mid tonics. I usually get 31. And I'm going to be checking a lot of the shops, and what I'm going to be doing is going around the world in what is hopefully a fairly efficient route. I'm going to check the shops that are along the way, but in the beginning I'm only going to get out of the epic, if possible, when I have other business. So that Pori shop is good in 600 because of the power tab. We check Pori in 1000, which doesn't have anything new, because we also check Snail Stop. This is where the jerky would be in vanilla, and we're going to see what the item is. It's Dreamstone. Okay. So I'm not going to buy that, but that is a go mode item, and we're going to remember that the Dreamstone is for sale at Snail Stop. And then from Pori 1000, I'm going to come over here. Now I still need heals, I think. So I'm going to duck into the inn. Now there's a free key item check. This is like the only truly free one. Talk to the carpenter in the inn. And this guy over here is sort of, we call it the secret shop sometimes. Now normally if I've already got everything I need, I'll stop checking the shops. But I'll show off all of them in the rotation this time, just so that you can see. So I've got my heals. So what I usually get is 11 heals. Again, now these numbers with ending in 1, it's because you can press up once and change the quantity. So 11 heals, 31 mid-tonics, 51 ethers, 5 shelters, 3 revives. That does not leave you with enough money to buy the snail stop item. I personally prefer to come back for it because it's very likely you can't use it right away anyway. Once you've talked to the carpenter in the inn, you come over here to talk to his wife. She'll give you the item. And yes, as Tekenu is saying in chat, absolutely remember that item, because you might need it later. Okay, the carpenter's wife gave us the pendant. That's great. The pendant is a go mode item for Black Omen mode and will unlock the future for us, because right now we only have access to 1000 AD and 600. Okay, we're gonna come up to the West Cape. There's a speed tab behind the grave. You need to be behind it to get it, because you can, like, absolutely accidentally read the grave. And if you've gotten the Thomas Pop item from the carpenter at this point, you can pour it now to open up Giant's Claw. So from here, I'm gonna fly straight up. That takes us to Medina. I'd like to land right there. And the first thing I do is come into the house, and there's a speed tab on the counter here, and a magic tab down here. Now, tabs can be pretty important in Jets of Time. Speed tabs are still only worth 1 point, but speed is king, as we know in Chrono Trigger. Magic tabs are randomized, so that they give you between 1 and 3 points to your magic stat. Power tabs are randomized between 2 and 4. So I'm gonna come in here and eat the cake, because it's a quick free heal, and after gaining all those levels, we didn't get our MP refilled, and while my characters here didn't learn anything that I can wipe the screen with coming up, if you did, you would probably need MP for it, and that's how you're gonna recover it. Like, if you've got a Luca who learned Flare, her MP won't be full enough unless you recover it first. So, if you need to do more shopping, which we don't, but I'll show it off, you can come into Lean Square from Medina. This guy sells stuff, and so does this guy. And the last one is Melchior. Now, it takes more time up if you talk to him with Marl in your party, and I'm gonna do it, but just be aware. Melchior is one of our special vendors. He has a single weapon for 5 of your 7 playable characters. He doesn't have one for Ayla because she doesn't use them, and all of Magus's weapons are like endgame level and stronger than these. These are all mid-tier weapons, but they're here if you need them, so for Frog, Robo, Luca, Marl, and Chrono. He also always sells revives and shelters. If you need more shelters, like you've done a lot of checks that seed, this is usually where I come back, because you just know they're gonna be there. And, of course, if Marl's here, he will ask you to talk her into selling her pendant. You can't get in trouble for it, but it does take up time and it's annoying, so try not to. So, from here, if somehow I still don't have all the items that I want, I'm gonna come shop in Truce in 600 AD, which is this one. Yes, if you, question in chat, if you accidentally click I'll try, it takes even longer. It does. So just be cognizant if you've got Marl, especially if you can't, like, just pop her out to avoid the extra text. So this is a shop too. I don't like to get out in Truce on my first rotation because there's nothing else really to do over here. I mean, I could roll it in with the forest grind, but I prefer to just fly to Pori. And if this has happened to me like once, if you still need something, you can fly from here over to Chorus. It's really out of the way, but this one is the shop. And I only come to check this one if, like, there were no ethers or something anywhere else. It's pretty rare that you end up having to use it. And so that's my kind of around the world strategy, everybody has a really different way of opening up the game, but that's what I do. I like to do all of that stuff up front. I like to get my carpenter's wife done. I like to grab my tabs. I like to get the key item checks out of the way. Note in chat that there is a Sun Keep for a power... I'm sorry. There is a power tab in the Sun Keep in AD 600. I usually then grab it if I'm doing the Moonstone quest, but you can get that anytime. So with that, that's the kind of like setup phase of the game. Generally what people are going to do first is they're going to come in the front of the cathedral. This is the first character check. And we recommend saving the game as often as possible, although I myself am kind of lazy about that, I admit. Okay, so again, we didn't get much in the way of offensive texts, because here's a couple of curative ones. So we're probably just gonna have to, like, beat them down. I don't know if provoke will even work. Let's try it for the lulz, I guess. Okay, it worked. So for anyone just joining us, this is again Camp Spekkio. This is the first week of our tutorial series, and I'm running Jets of Time standard race flags. This is going to be a pretty basic run-through. Anyone in chat, if you have questions, please feel free to ask them. Now, again, this fight... Normally, what we want to do is cast Water 2 or Fire 2 or something that would just wipe the screen and we would be done already. But we got really, really awful starting techs. So we're just slowly beating them down. And, you know, sometimes you have to do this. And if this happens to you in a race, you just have to remember that it happened to your opponents as well. But after this fight, we're going to get another character. And it should be noted, while we're talking about screen wipes, you know, we talk about screen wipes as anything that will hit the whole screen. Fire 2, Ice 2, Lightning 2, Dark Mist, speaking of, there's Magus. The one thing you need to remember is if you've got Chrono and he learns Luminaire, you need to grind him to level 7 to have enough MP, like max MP, to even be able to cast it. And that's the one thing to keep track of. Because we have, like, 3 standard grind fights we like to do. I like to do the Guardia Forest set, but pretty much all of them will get you to 5 only. So you need Chrono to be at 7 if he's going to be your Luminaire screen wiper. If it's Lightning 2, he'll be fine, just for Luminaire. Okay, so we're going to go into Cathedral. I'm dodging those guys. Usually get the left side for treasure. There's a red katana. There's a power tab in here. Whoops. That's the door. Okay. I'm gonna come into this room. Open these chests, and then most people probably know this drawer has a Nagaet bromide in it. I like to menu here because I've just gotten some treasure that I can maybe equip. You know, not a whole lot, but there's a couple things. So we're gonna get the Nagaet bromide. I recommend picking up the bromide. In vanilla, the bromide only gets you a magic tab. In Jets, it gets you one of each. And I personally think it's worth it for just the speed tab. I mean, the others are great, but, like, speed is king. So now that we've got that, we've got a decision point. A lot of players actually like to leave Cathedral at this point. You're not required to finish it because it doesn't actually give you any key items. It does give you another character. Now, 3 characters can gate things. Marl gates the Prism Shard quest, and by virtue of that, she also gates the Moonstone. Frog gates the Magus' Castle Go mode. We're actually avoiding Magus' Castle Go mode. I haven't played this seed, but I did have some of the other counselors vet it for me. And since we're going to be covering Legacy of Cyrus later in the week, which requires Magus' Castle, we're going to be covering it then. So today we're going to do one of the other 2 Go modes. But Frog does gate that Go mode. The other character that gates something is Robo, who gates the Sunken Desert. And there is a key item behind there. So it's really up to the player how comfortable they feel not grabbing that character out the back of Cathedral. You can, of course, come back at any time to get them again if you leave. It doesn't just mean you don't ever get them. Avoid this guy. So today I'm gonna finish everything because I want to show off as much as I can. Like, my rhythm's off because I usually go through the room at a specific way, so normally don't run into that.
Yeah, when we're not going fast like we normally do, everything gets desynced.
Yeah. You can run from most battles. Actually, I will mention one of the things, you know, if you were to ask me what's the one thing you see new players doing that they shouldn't, taking too many fights. You gotta know which fights to take and then just run from most everything else. Try to be leveling up on a lot of your boss battles and stuff like that. Okay, so this is gonna be another bit of a slog because we don't have any screen wipes. So I'm kind of just gonna auto attack through it. And a question in chat, Cathedral is only necessary if the character behind it ends up being required. That is correct. And that should only be Marl, Robo, or Frog. Nobody else gates anything specific, or gates anything that could be required. The one other character-specific thing you can do is saving Fritz in the Guardia prison. If you've saved Fritz, then you can use Chrono to get free mid-ethers from Fritz. Lapis. We like lapises. So, question in chat, say your first 3 characters are Marl, Frog, and Robo. Would you still do it? I possibly... It would depend on their techs. Because as you're commenting, that's not necessarily the most ideal team. So it would depend on if I had good techs. As Ritherix just said, and I was about to say today on the dot, Ice Tackle is really underrated. But, so, just for the sake of, like, okay, if you're saying I have no ice too, I probably do finish Cathedral. So we're gonna save, and then go back here, and we are not playing with boss randomization, so we're gonna be fighting Yakra. And again, I don't have much to hit him with, but he only has 920 hit points. Honestly, I've already been planning on picking up a lot of characters this run, which is good because this is not a team that I am particularly fond of. Like, Magus is a reasonably strong character. I personally don't like him as much because of his lack of double and triple techs, especially, I mean, he has a couple triple techs, but they're rock techs, so you have to burn an accessory slot to use those. And of course, Yakra's big thing is he counterattacks a lot, so he's usually not very deadly, but just watch your HP. Like, everyone's still above 100, so I'm not worried. Now I'll probably start healing his lowest frog. Here come the needles. Yeah, he'll be okay. You know, he's low if he starts doing needles. Alright, there he goes. And as you can see, even with no good techs whatsoever, in standard mode, Yakra is a pretty big wimp. He can be pretty scary in boss rando, so that's something to keep in mind, but not here. Whoops. Come on. Okay. No need to free the Chancellor from his chest, because if you don't, he will. So, the King and Queen are not on their thrones here because I already flagged Xenon Bridge. Otherwise, they would be there. But I like to flag Xenon early because it's just convenient. A lot of players do. So we're gonna come here and see who the queen is. It's Chrono. So remember, mash start when you're naming a character. I'm gonna see what techs he has and then decide on a party. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go outside. Because at this point, now that we've cleared Cathedral, we've picked up 2 more characters, we've got a bunch of checks open. So the earliest checks, because we start with access to AD 1000 and AD 600, we can do the Cathedral, of course, which I've finished. We can do Carpenter's Wife, which I've done. We can check Snail Stop. That was Dreamstone. Didn't pick it up yet, but if we find the other 2 parts of that go mode, which are the Gate Key and the Ruby Knife, we're going to go back and get it. Sunken Desert is open, but you need Robo to finish it, so we can't do that. We have Denadoro Mountains open, but Denadoro, the boss, is a bit tough. So the best 2 options, if you don't feel very strong, which honestly I don't, are going to be either Xenon Bridge or Hecarim Cave. And I'm going to look at Xenon Bridge first. But I'm going to check out Chrono, who's going to come with some techs. Okay, that's not the worst. He learns Dark Mist in 37, 26. Okay, so I think I'm gonna work with this team, and I'm just putting Chrono in front because sometimes you're gonna work with, like, the positioning of your characters on the ground to do a skip, and I like the size of the 1000 AD characters best. Okay, now to activate Xenon, we go inside the castle, so we're gonna save, because a lot of players like to see what the item is and then reset out if it's not good. I'm not gonna reset out no matter what, so we're gonna find out what the item is and then go to Xenon. So what you gotta do is you need to talk to the chef. You can run up here, and if you're doing it at the right rhythm, the text boxes will go away super fast. The important thing is to close that pipe down what do you know box. If you have to have that box closed before you go upstairs, otherwise you got to do that again. You got to go back downstairs and talk to him again. If you did it right, he'll catch you here, and he'll give you the key item, which is the Moonstone, which is like the worst thing ever, but I mean, it's not, but it's not what people want to see. So normally, if this was me in a race, I would reset out of that unless I figured out I needed the Moonstone. But I'm going to show off Xenon Bridge for right now. The Moonstone, the reason everyone hates it is just because it's awful that it's behind so much. You need to have the future unlocked, you need to have prehistory unlocked, because you need to be able to put it in the Sun Keep and then get it from those two eras. And you also need to do the Prism Shard quest, which requires Marl and the Prism Shard, and then you have to do the quest to bring Melchior over. Alright, so Xenon Bridge. There are 2 fights and then a boss battle. These 2 fights, the fastest way through them is to cast a screen wipe that isn't shadow, because I think the skeletons will absorb shadow. If you don't have a screen wipe, what you want to do is attack Ozzy 3 times. Any 3 hits on Ozzy will end the battle. Now, there's actually a menu glitch here that I'm going to try to get because I forgot to equip Chrono. I got it! Now, the menu glitches are windows between battles, where if you hit your menu button at the correct time, you can open the menu, as I just did. So the Xenon Bridge one is the hardest one. It's also not super key, but my advice if you want it is you need to be mashing your button, and it comes up when your party reconverges on itself. So, because I had forgotten to put that red katana I found on Chrono, which is much better than that awful wood sword, I opened the menu and did it. So we're going to do another Ozzy fight here. Now, sometimes the Ozzy fights give good loot. He's dropping Megaton Arms, which is a, like, pretty good weapon for Robo. Not that we have Robo, but since we don't have Robo, what that means is the Megaton Arms are money. You can sell things up to a point. I actually don't remember what treasure class Megaton Arm is. But you can sell things that are in the lower treasure tiers pretty freely. Alright, and our boss here is Zombor. So, Zombor, we still really don't have anything much in the way of techs. We recommend killing the head first, because the top is the one that does all the really obnoxious damage to your party. The top will take damage from water and shadow elements. The bottom will take damage from lightning and fire, and then each piece will absorb the other 2 elements, so you gotta be careful with that. They will also take normal damage from physical. And since I've got Confuse on Chrono, I think that's my best bet right now. That's going to require a lot of MP, so because it's going to cost 15 MP, I'm going to be ready with my other character's turns, as Chrono does Confuse to the top, ready to toss him Ethers, so that he can continue to do that. Alright, that MP Buster means that the top is dead. It will always do that, so you can try to be strategic about which character gets hit with it, but you always have to deal with it, unless you kill the legs first, but that means the top will start hurting you quite a bit. We didn't actually get to see its full party attack, but it kind of hurts, and I don't recommend it. Ah, they were almost all 69. And sadly, because this seed doesn't have much to offer us in the way of techs, this battle's a bit slow. It doesn't usually take this long. The good thing is, it's pretty safe. I'm certainly not worried. But I think that these, like, 250 damage confuses are the best I'm gonna get, so... Alright, we got a Lumen Robe and a Magic Tab. Not bad. Okay. Marl can wear that Lumen Robe. Okay. So now we've got a couple options. We have the pendant, so that means we can go to the future. That's in our back pocket. What I'm going to do next, I think, is Hecarim Cave, because we can get a lot of tech points out of Hecarim Cave. So, the 3 characters that I have in now are going to cap out when they learn their next techs. And for some of them, that's going to be... Whoops, I keep hitting that. Be quite soon.
And even learning like Water 2 and Ice 2 will help with a lot of other things too at this point.
Exactly. We're gonna get Water 2 and Ice 2 off of this fight. And I'm gonna be using one of those to wipe the screen for the rest of the cave. So it can be nice to come do Hecarim Cave after you have learned magic from Spekkio at the end of time and removed that block, because the characters who need to learn magic are only going to learn 3 techs before they're capped out. That can be nice. It's not always a very realistic option, and we don't have the gate key right now, which is the best way to the end of time. Now, what I'm going to do, because we know that Frog just capped out, and sort of arbitrarily, I think I'm more likely to use Marl than Frog in my final party, I'm going to bring Magus in because he is not capped. Magus does not need to learn magic from Spekkio. He will never be capped. So this is our chance to actually get some techs on him, because while most characters require 5 tech points to learn their first tech, Magus requires 50. Now, of course, I kept Marl, and she's slow, so the enemies are going to get a couple moves off, but I just kept her in because she has pretty good synergy. Like, we've got Ice Sword 2 with Chrono and Confuse. That's not bad damage at all. Alright, Chrono has learned Spin Cut, and now he's capped. There is a fight here that I'm going to skip by going over here and then straight down. That fight that I skipped would only give us like 10 tech points. Now this one you can't skip, but this is going to give us 20. And at the end of Hecarim Cave, we're going to get another key item. try to skip the bats. There we go. That one's a little tricky. You actually can do that one while running. It's just kind of hard. And if you want to skip this fight, you just need to go against the wall like that. That said, it's 25 tech points. I'm taking it. And now Marl is down to 6. So I'm tossing her an ether real quick. Well, or this guy's tossing her an ether. What in the world just happened with my... Okay. Okay. It, like, jerked my cursor around for a sec, but as long as the attack goes off, I don't care. Like, Chrono unfortunately went down, but he's capped on tech points, and the experience points aren't that much. Alright, there's Black Hole. And if we had a charged pendant, we could open that, but we can't. You could come back for it if you want. I mean, sealed chests are decent. They're not always good. It's kind of a gamble. Alright, we're gonna shelter. Now, because I used a shelter, I opened the menu. Menuing can take a decent amount of time, so you definitely want to be a little bit judicious about when you open the menu. And anytime there's a save point is usually a good time to open the menu. So when you're getting new equipment, try to consider, you know, is there a boss between me and the next opportunity to save? Because if not, just wait until then to do all of your stuff. And Actually, 1 second. I'm sorry, I will be right back. Yeah, so I'm gonna, let's see. Right now, the party I like is probably this one. Magus does have some good damage on him. That said, this is probably what I prefer for right now, especially with some extra healing on Frog. So I'm gonna come in like this. Actually, I always forget, I'm always playing boss randos, so let's put Magus in because he's got magic. Hecarim can only be damaged, significantly at least, by magic. He will take single-digit damage, or like double at best, from physical. So at this point, we're just gonna unload our best magic against him. While it's true that Chrono and Marl would have Ice Sword too, because Hecarim has such high physical defense, he would effectively only be taking the damage from Ice 2, and we would be wasting the MP on Confuse. Gotta be careful here, because a Cyclone on the same character in a row will probably take them out. So, definitely don't be afraid to heal. Okay, now that Hecarim has said go ahead, try an attack, he is in his counterattack stance. So this is where we sit here and do nothing except for perhaps Frog, who could use an ether. I didn't see if his message came up. Okay, now, okay, he's back in counterattack stance now. Okay, can everyone hear me now? Because my mic went off for some reason, but I think it's fixed.
I can hear you.
Okay. So yes, I'll extend a welcome to anyone just getting here. We're covering Jets of Time standard race flags. Anyone wondering why there's only 2 key items 45 minutes in? There was a lengthy explanation at the beginning of the video where we talked about the flags and stuff like that. So we did that. So we're going to come up here. Once you've beaten Hecarim, I think a lot of my Hecarim explanation got cut off, but he's not complicated. It's okay. You're going to come to Luca's house and talk to her dad for the item. And it's the hero medal. Now, the hero medal is actually great because, first of all, we have Frog. Now, the hero medal is way better than in vanilla. So if you look at the description at the bottom there, you'll see actually in Jets of Time we've updated a lot of the equipment descriptions. This both enables our gear rando flag, which might get covered in later weeks, but you can always play with it on your own. It actually doesn't make the game particularly harder. Can be kind of fun. But as you can see, so it has a barrier effect, plus 50% damage, that is the Prism Specs effect, and a shield effect. So if you have the hero medal and Frog, you want him wearing it. Now the hero medal is also a key item. The hero medal opens up the Frog's burrow check. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna bring Chrono back in because I prefer him usually. But we're gonna try to pick up all the characters, perhaps except the burrow character. So we're gonna go to 600 and check out where Frog lives. Come over here. New!
New!
Alright, let's fight the new and see what it's got for us. So, the thing to note about this new fight, the new is one of the news that will do the attack that takes your HP to 1. Now, all news are either HP to 1 or 1 damage. So this one, if it's by itself, can't kill you. So the important thing to do is to wipe the screen right away so that the other trash can't hit you for scratch damage. And that's basically what to do if you're going to fight the new. Why fight the new? Actually, because the enemies in the Cursed Woods, including the new, but also including the like frogs and snakes, have a decent treasure table. So you can actually get some pretty good stuff off this fight. You can also get garbage, so it's a little bit of a risk, but we'll see. I should probably speed this up a little bit. It is true that he can't kill me, nevertheless. So we got a power tab. Okay, that's not bad. I haven't used any yet, so I don't know how strong they are this seed. Oh, there's another frog up here already. Okay, so there are a couple things in the burrow. There's a character check, and there's a key item check. The character requires a repaired Masamune sword, so we're not going to get Ayla without both pieces of the sword. But you can use the hero medal to open this chest, and ooh, look, it's the gate key. Okay, so I've got a question for chat. Do you think we should do Denadoro Mountains next? Do you think we should go to prehistory next and do Reptite Lair, or would you like to see the future? In the meantime, I'm going to show how to go to the end of time and unlock magic with Spekkio. But if you would like to see one of the 3 things I just mentioned particularly, let me know. Okay. So what you gotta do is when you have the gate key, you're going to come to this residence, and you open up the cupboard, The other thing we gotta do, though, is we gotta pick up the Dactyl Nest character. So let's do that also. Because we're still missing Luca and Robo, who are my favorite characters. So, when you first jump into Prehistory, it'll drop you out that gate. You can run out of the Mystic Mountains the normal way, and the Epic will be waiting for you. Or you can come out. If you loop around and go back into the gate, it'll take you to the end of time. And you can come back to Medina to get your airship. So we're definitely gonna pick up the character at Dactyl Nest, so I can show that off. So we got time to mull over what our next key item check should be. And now I'm back in Medina. I can pick up my ship, and I'm just gonna zip back here. Okay, our next character check is Dactyl Nest. We are not going to fight anything here. And so this battle is unskippable. I didn't heal. Don't even try to skip that fight. You can't. It sort of looks like you can. You can't. So don't worry about it. And we're just going to zoom through. And I did come in with 1 HP on several characters. I should be alright because we're running from everything. Now, there are 2 skips in Dactyl Nest. They're hard, and as far as skips go, they're not that big a deal. I'm gonna try to do them. I don't always get it right, but this is definitely one of the things that you should check out Moon Blizzard's amazing skip tutorials videos for. Alright. Whoops, I hit the ape. So this is the first skip, but you need to like line yourself up on the correct pixel, and it's pretty tight. And yes, while it is true, if you get an early gate key, you can come in here with 2 characters. We don't recommend it. If they're not fast enough, you can get hit, but you can have them both get hit and die, and then it's game over. With 3, that pretty much won't happen. Okay, so I'm lining myself up, and I think that's it. Yep, okay. And we're getting Luca. Okay. Now, most players are happy to see Luca because she is the most powerful caster in the game. So, let's wait and check out techs. Normally, I would like to finalize the party I'm using as early as possible, but for this run, I also want to be showing off as much as I can. Okay, Luca is coming with Flame Toss, Fire 2, yes, and Hypno Wave. Now, that Fire 2, that's one of the things we're looking for, because Fire 2 goes into lots of super powerful double techs, and it's a great screen wipe as well. Flare is certainly stronger, but Fire 2 will hold you pretty well. So, I think, gosh, it's like, do I want to have Antipode as an option too, or do I want to keep Frog? I think I want to keep Chrono because I need a physical character, and unless I get the Leon for Frog, which I might, it's not going to be him. So now that we've picked up Luca, let's head back to End of Time. Okay. We'll come talk to Spekkio. We've got Kiwala Spekkio. That means we're below level 20. Okay. And you still have to do this. Some people are really good at doing it the like flashy way. I'm really bad at it, so I have to be careful. What you only really need to hit the corners, but it's kind of weird. Now, the other nice thing is that if you come to Spekkio with characters that don't have 3 techs learned already, which is not the case here, all of these characters have 3 techs already, they will learn 3 techs. I'm gonna not fight Spekkio because I don't have like flare or anything that will wipe him up quickly. Now let's see what's coming next. Cyclone, Protect, and Frog Splash. Okay. Frog Splash is good. We might need it for Ocean Palace. Okay, I'm gonna take a heal. Okay. So looking at chat, I guess we had multiple votes for future. Actually what I'll do real quick, before I forget, because I usually would only do this with the characters I'm using, let's make sure that we get it for Marl too. And luckily, it's like vanilla, where once you've done the like ceremonial thing, he'll just give it to you.
And as far as chat voting, it's 1 future, 1 reptite, and 1 for Denadoro.
I thought it was 2 future because you voted 2.
We can count my vote.
Well, since it's the tiebreaker right now, I think we will. So,
okay.
Alright, so, future. To open up the future, it's sort of similar to vanilla. We're gonna get thrown on trial and then run away and jump in a gate. So the required item for future unlock is Pendant, and Pendant is part of a Go mode as well. Pendant, Clone, and Chrono Trigger are Black Omen Go mode. Okay, now let me see here. Luca is probably kind of slow right now. Does Frog have... Okay, got a Pearl Edge for Frog. Now, unlike vanilla, you can send anyone you want to jail. And I think it's going to be Frog. He's reasonably fast. He has a Pearl Edge for single target damage, and he's got Water 2 for double target damage. So I'm going to come over here and flip these 2. And what you gotta do is talk to Pierre with the pendant and say yes, and that will kickstart this particular event. And when we get to the future, after all of this, that's gonna open up 3 more key item checks and 1 more character check. And ultimately, what we're looking for is a combination of items and or characters that's going to put us in Go mode, which I haven't talked about much yet, but Go mode basically means you have fulfilled the requirements you need to finish the game. Generally what that means is you've unlocked one of the final dungeons. So there are 3 ways to do that again. The first way is to collect the gate key, the Dreamstone, and the Ruby Knife. That will take you through Tyranno Lair and Ocean Palace. You can collect the Pendant, the Clone, and the Chrono Trigger, which takes you over Death Peak and the Black Omen. And you can collect the 2 pieces of the Masamune and Frog and go through Magus' castle. And again, we've vetted this seed in hopes that I'm going to be getting one of the first 2 modes, because we're going to be looking at Legacy of Cyrus mode later this week, which requires Magus' castle for Go mode. So that one is definitely going to be covered. Alright, knock him over. Alright, avoid those guys. It's not a huge deal if you fight them, but it's time loss. They can have good items. The guards can have good items too, so it's worth paying attention to in these rooms where you have to fight them, because in the next room we'll be able to start avoiding them. And to skip the shields, you kind of just want to line up the character's shadow right between them. Okay, so these guys, we can sneaky sneak. They're kind of random, so they can turn around and catch you. Now, you can just turn up here and avoid that guy on the right. I'm going to show what you can do, and he's going to catch me, but it happens. It is worth noting also that in Jets of Time, you cannot wait around to be rescued like you can in Vanilla. By the way, if you've never done that in Vanilla, you need to. It's amazing. But, that said, they will not bring you over here automatically. You've got to come out of your way. And you can let Fritz out of this guillotine because he's been falsely accused. And if you have Chrono in your party, you have to have Chrono to get the reward. But if you have Chrono, Fritz will give you 10 mid-ethers. And mid-ethers are really nice to have as they recover 30 MP instead of the 10 on a regular ether. And when you're relying on techs that cost 15-20 MP, that can make your battles a lot more efficient. Now, of course, silver studs and gold studs exist, which cut your MP costs by 50% and 75%, respectively, but you can't guarantee them. I mean, obviously I recommend them if you have them. They're wonderful, but you can't count on them. So those mid-ethers can really, really, really help. And it's only, I don't know, 30 seconds. Question from chat. How many equipment checks do you normally do? I mean, I don't check a lot of stuff that's out of the way unless I'm in a really good area like Mount Woe, or I'm coming back to grab like sealed chests or the jerky items. Mostly I try to grab the good treasure chests that are gonna be in high level dungeons, go mode dungeons, stuff like that. I'll actually talk about treasure level in just a sec after I fight Dragon Tank, because we're going to open some sealed chests soon. But it varies person to person. Some people like to gather more treasure than others. Obviously, you know, if you know Chrono Sanity routing, that takes you to every treasure chest, so it becomes up to you. There really does seem to be a sweet spot, and it's a difficult balance. It very much is going to depend on the race, but better equipment can help you get a come-from-behind victory. Okay. Chrono's first attack on this thing will cause it to heal, which is fine, just remembering that it will. Wait. So the Dragon Tank head is immune to fire and lightning because in Vanilla you fight it with Chrono and Luca, and why make it easy, I guess. The rest of Dragon Tank is not immune to fire and lightning. Okay, and as you can see, Dragon Tank often drops us some nice things, including a Megalixir. And, you know, a single Megalixir for the final boss, whether it's Zeal... Now, Zeal has a very specific place to use it. Lavos, it's more of an opportunity thing, but it's always good to have, even if it's just one. Okay, so we are through Dragon Tank, and that's going to send us to the future. And future access means charged pendant. So this is probably a good time to talk about treasure chests. So the items in Jets of Time are all sort of divided up into tiers, and there is information on the wiki about this if you want to read about it in more detail. But there's a low, passable, mid, good, high, and awesome. And then there's also like some key item ones, some special case ones. So for example, these treasure chests, I don't quite remember, but they're probably something like a good to awesome or high to awesome. Like a slasher, a doomsicle, a barrier. So that's a good weapon for Chrono, better than what we've got. That's Magus's best weapon. And so knowing what tier things are in what areas can help you determine what chests to open. For example, Denadoro Mountains. All of the chests in Denadoro Mountains are in the passable tier, which is second to lowest, except for the ones that you get from jumping off the waterfall, those two chests there. So, for example, I do usually grab some stuff when I'm in Denadoro, but I only grab what's in my path. Ooh, a Vigil hat. Big hand. Magic tab. Whereas, if I'm up on, like, Mount Woe, where all of the chests are in the higher level tiers, I go out of my way, I open everything. And the one time I didn't, it was a rainbow. So I've learned my lesson. So that is to say, I guess, you know, personally, I kind of just have a treasure route, and it is usually pretty kind to me. Okay, now we're going to get the character out of Protodome. And the thing you need to know about Protodome is buggy. We're working on it, but always save outside of Protodome. And don't do anything other than what I'm about to show you. You're going to come in. We're going to kill these guys because they annoy me. We're going to pick up the character, skipping this battle. To skip this battle, you need to walk. If you run, they'll catch you. Come up, talk to the character. You'll note that that door is open back there. It will only be open if End of Time is already unlocked. Okay, now the character. Don't put the character in your party. Don't open the menu. Just go. And now you can do whatever you want. Yeah, I think it has to do with there being a lot of cutscene triggers in Protodome. But it's buggy, it's weird. The Enertron in there can cause a lot of trouble. Don't use that Enertron. There's one in Arisdome, there's one in Trandome. You can use one of those. Okay, so we picked up Robo. Let's check out Robo. What does he come with? Rocket Punch, Cure Beam, and Laser Spin. We might have some good gear for Robo. Oh. I don't know if I want that Vigil hat on. Luca's not wearing much of a helmet. Ah, welcome! Thank you for the raid, and welcome to Camp Spekkio. We're working on a standard race flag seed right now. Pretty slowly, but we're going through a lot of the minutiae. We've just unlocked the future and got Robo in our party. Okay. So, now that I've unlocked 6 of the 7 characters, and the 7th character is in the burrow, and we're only getting that character if we find the sword pieces, That's unlikely. So I'm gonna pick my party, and I'm just gonna pick, like, a party that I like. And this is what I like. I like Luca, and I like physical characters to go with Luca. And eventually, Robo should learn Heal Beam as well, and give us a full party cure, and that's really nice too. Alright. So we've unlocked Future. At this point, I'll go ahead and ask if anyone wants to see a particular check. I think we should leave some of the harder ones off the table for now. So maybe let's not do Mount Woe and Genodome right now, and maybe not Son of Sun, but we could go do Denadoro Mountains. We could go do the desert now, because Robo's here. We can do Sunken Desert. And Reptitler's open too. Those are good options. And we've got future stuff. Aristome's a good one. So let me know. Yes, that's true. Aristome also has a sealed door, so we'll go in there eventually. Yeah, let's do Aristome first. This is the lowest level of the checks in the future, but you should note that it is a little harder in Jets in terms of like how the bosses get powered up than it is in vanilla, especially if you're playing boss rando, which of course we aren't right now. But that's something to remember. It is closer to the level of the late game future stuff, when in vanilla this is a pretty early game check. So this is also a key item check. So we're gonna come up here, and this is the room where we're gonna fight the boss. Now, the Guardian itself is immune to fire, which is inconvenient when you're using Luca for certain. However, its friends aren't immune to fire. So you can still use a full screen fire tech to wipe the bits. And they have 500 HP, so that's important to remember, because if you don't kill them and you also hit the Guardian, you're gonna eat a counterattack that you don't want to eat. And it is absolutely true, had I thought it through a little more, you know, maybe because this boss is immune to fire, maybe for this one I wanted to swap Marl in for Luca and use Ice Sword too. So this is going to go a little more slowly because of that decision, but it's still going to be pretty safe. Luca is just going to be Alchemist. Also worth noting that this guy doesn't just sit around waiting for the bits to revive. He will do some attacks, so be ready. Let's get Ether. All right. So as you can see, Guardian, even with a not very good party for it, usually pretty easy. And it dropped me a Rainbow Helm and some White Mail. That's great. Okay, you do need to check this guy before you can chase the rat, because I know everyone wants to chase the rat. It's everybody's favorite. This is where he slows down, and I, of course, fat-fingered my D-pad, and sometimes that's all it takes, but luckily I got him before he left the screen. Okay. Hold L and R, press A. Okay, I need to come back here and get this chest. There's usually good things in it. Hey, full ethers. I like full ethers. Okay. Alright, come down here. Try not to get caught by the bugs, but it happens. Their hitboxes are a little funny, so sometimes it's hard to tell exactly when you can and can't dodge them. Especially when they're, like, waving their wings. Okay, I'll dodge this guy. Kind of hug that wall to dodge this guy, come under him, come up. There we go. Same password for this room, L and R, press A, which opens up the panel that allows you to access the sealed door. And there's a tab right here. Elixir, time hat, hyper ether, and full ether. So that's not the best because, you know, usually we're hoping for like really nice equipment out of there. That said, that's not bad. I like those consumables. And the time hat is much better than what Robo is wearing. Ah, yes. I might have 2 Lapises now, but in terms of getting through Zeal 1, actually, if we fight Zeal, we won't be healing at all during Zeal 1, because she's going to cast Halation and then die before she can chip the last damage off of us. Now to finish this check, you go up in that room and check the Lavos computer. It won't make you watch the cutscene. It'll just give you the name of the winners of, in this case, our previous tournament. And then you're gonna run back, enjoy the music, try not to hit the bugs. Or these guys. And he's going to give us a key item. It's the Grand Leon. Okay. So the Grand Leon, it does a couple of things. It now doubles as the tools for the Northern Ruins. But what it is it's the upgraded Masamune. The Grand Leon is what the Masamune is called in Japanese. Because, you know, funnily enough, in the Japanese version of the game, the sword has a cool-sounding English name, but in the English version of the game, the sword has a cool-sounding Japanese name. It has been renamed just so that you can tell the two apart. So the Leon is the stronger of the two, and along with the Hero Medal, we call that particular setup Grand Hero Frog. It will also let you into the Northern Ruins as the tools if you need to hit those, but we don't in this particular case. Okay. So we've done Aristome. I think now we should do Desert, Reptite Lair, or what was the third one? Denadoro, and I will take the first one that chat gives me. Alright, let's go to Reptite Lair. So Reptite Lair is usually a somewhat easy check to do. By easy, I mean fairly low level. Also, if you need to do a free heal, I just did one in the Intertron, but I'll show it off. It's this lady right here. And... oh, nope. I'll actually show off. If you come to the trade hut, if you need to do any shopping, this is the regular merchant right here. And this is a, like, medium level shop. So he sometimes has decent stuff. So Riptide is usually fairly quick and easy. I'm gonna check my techs. Chrono doesn't have any lightning yet, which is a little obnoxious because we could use it against Nizbel if he did. Does anybody else have lightning? No. Okay. I am actually gonna suggest, because I don't have lightning, let's go back and do Denadoro first, because maybe we'll get it. There are more cavalier ways to fight Nizbel, and often I use them, honestly, but I'd like to show off the, like, sort of safe strats here, wherever possible. And I'm also going to stop in here, because this is where we turn in the bromide, actually. So you need to talk to that guy, and then you gotta talk to the drawer. And if you do it fast enough, you can, like, get him to turn around and acknowledge you, even though you need to have checked the drawer first, technically. But if you don't get the trick, you'll have to, like, talk to the guy again for him to allow you to open the drawer. Now, also, because this is probably our final party, let's start looking at tabs. So I've got 7 power tabs. I'm probably leaning a lot on Confuse, and Chrono's got an okay weapon, and I'm going to give him power tabs. Looks like there were 3, which is the middle number. Not bad. I'm gonna give magic tabs. I'm gonna give 2 to Luca for damage, and I'm gonna give 2 to Robo for healing. Magic tabs actually have a greater effect on healing, and eventually he's gonna have heal beam, hopefully, and I would like to use it. And the speed tabs are almost always going to go on Luca. Robo is also pretty slow. However, there is the Robo's ribbon somewhere out there, and if we find it, that will give him extra speed when we equip it. Alright, so there's actually a lot of skips in Denadoro, including this one. Just don't get caught by the birds, kind of go between the goblins when the birds are far away. These 2 fights here are not avoidable, so we're just gonna have to fight them. So at this point we've done a lot of checks and we're doing Denadoro late. I wouldn't normally come back for this, honestly. Of course it's a tip on him, so you know, it just goes to show sometimes it can be something you really like, because maybe I do want that 10 magic defense on Luca, and Robo can have the Vigil Hat, which will protect him from every status effect, and since I'd like Robo to be my healer, that's not a bad way to go. Alright, this fight up here is the other one you can't avoid. You can run away from it, or you can just hit it with spread damage, and that will take care of it. You can also open up your tech menu, like I just did in the middle of a fight, to abuse wait mode and fill up your invisible running away gauge without getting hit. Which is just as much for safety as it is for time saves. Okay, that guy you just gotta kinda... don't go any lower than the bottom of the cliff. We're gonna go down to avoid this guy, and then just run. Because he'll wake up that guy, and... Yep, that room you just kinda gotta run through. This guy throws rocks, but that's it. Jerkbird. Aeon Blade. Okay, go straight across here to avoid battles. Here, avoid the center. So if you want the chest, you can go right, and if you don't, you can go left. And that's the only ones. This screen will eat minutes of your life. Is my keyboard responding? Because this is one of the places I wanted to use a save state. Okay. This is what happens if you don't go up first. I'm gonna hit fast forward. But this is what happens. Okay? So what you need to do is come up. You only need a couple of pixels. I like to come up about to like here because this is where the exit of the screen is. So you know you have to go this high anyway, and you'll avoid it and save yourself like 5 minutes. Okay. This is a weird skip and people do it different ways. I like to kind of... and it doesn't always work. But I usually do that, and it works for me most of the time, but the trigger is on the lower pixels of the ramp. You can also, like, kind of loop around it. I may actually just go off screen and see if I can get it. Let's see. Like, about here, and then, yep. And then go all the way across the river before you start heading up again, and then it should be safe. And a lot of players do that one different ways because it's a kind of awkwardly placed battle trigger. So my way is absolutely not the only way to do that one. Mountains are nice. There's a skip that I just went past as well. Back here, you just want to kind of avoid... I avoid the dark grass and then come diagonally down to the bridge, and then it's safe. You can talk to the koala for a magic tab. I usually will use a shelter here, assuming I need one, which I really don't. And I might check my equipment, but this is a late Denadoro, so in this case, I don't really have new stuff I need to put on. You can grab this chest if you like. This is a safe screen, so there's no battles. Taban vest. There's a speed tab here. Now that vest is not... it's gonna be a lot less defense for Luca, and this is the thing, but it's gonna bring her speed up. And we're just gonna hope we find like a Taban suit, which is much better. And yes, I believe I have already mentioned the Moon Blizzard Skips video, which is definitely one of the things you'll want to look at. Note that at this point here, your characters can catch the Triple Tech rock. The rocks are shuffled amongst themselves, so anything that was a rock location is still a rock location. But they're shuffled. This was normally the gold rock, actually. And anyone can catch it, not just Frog. So... after this, I'm going to come down, and the timing is kind of funky. I'm going to grab the chest, wait for the bird to throw a rock, whoops, and then I'm going to hit the guy because I messed up. You can't actually escape this one, so I apologize. But what you need to do is you wait for the bird to throw the rock after jumping down off the ladder, and you need to climb the ladder after he throws the rock and has backed up as far as he can, at which point he won't be able to swing his sword at you and hit you off the ladder. So, wait for the rock, come over here. Yeah, that's the skip, except I missed the actual skip part, but that's it. Alright, and then we come in here, check the sword, and we're gonna do a couple of boss fights. So, if you're just joining us, we are not playing with boss randomization on. These are just basic flags, so we're going to fight both Masamune bosses. But normally, you're always going to fight these two, no matter what. And the nice thing is they're vulnerable to status effects. So the first thing we're going to do is put them to sleep because they counterattack like nobody's business. And then I'm gonna hit this one with Confuse. Now he has 1000 HP, so that's gonna just not do it, so hopefully Rocket Punch will. And we're done. So it's definitely important to remember that you have to fight these guys as well as whatever boss is up here, which in this case will be their combined form. but they can be a total nightmare. Like, if they're both awake and you hit one, they can counterattack. But if one of them is incapacitated, they can't counterattack because their counterattacks are double techs. Now this guy, we're just gonna have to unload a lot of damage. So it's mostly gonna be Fire Sword 2. And he has 3,600 hit points, so this should be pretty quick. I just need to give Chrono another ether. Now, I'm gonna note real quick. Right now, Chrono's second tech is life. In vanilla, when Masa and Mune start gathering their tornado energy, you use Chrono's slash attack to dissipate it, and that takes them out of their dangerous counterattack stance. It stops them charging their full party high damage attack. So that's good. If you can't beat this guy really quickly, you might want that in your back pocket. That said, the only way you can dissipate the tornado energy is with Chrono's second tech. So if it's life, too bad, so sad, basically. Luckily, we're not going to need that because I'm pretty sure this is going to do it. And I absolutely recommend learning boss's HP and, for boss rando mode, HP ranges, because calculating your fights is very, very good. It helps save time, it helps save your items, it helps save a lot of stuff. Let's see what he dropped. A Hyper Ether. Okay. But I don't know that we got anything lightning elemental on Chrono, which is a little obnoxious because that's fully half of his text, so it's not like that should be hard. Okay, we got Toma's Pop. So Toma's Pop is an item that leads to another check that can be poured on Toma's grave in the present to open up Giant's Claw in the past. That said, let's go ahead and take another look at Reptite Lair. I'm gonna take one quick look at this again, but... Okay, so I'll come use the Healing Lady. Save the game. And so I usually will run around this room for about a minute, coming in and out of it, and that's so that I can get a dig, or as we like to call them, a secret tunnel. And if you're singing the song, that's the way we intend it. So, as you can see, these guys can dig holes. We don't want the holes near the one that already exists, though, because that's the section that doesn't have any good treasure in it. When I am using a timer, I know the stream has a timer. I'm not using one right now. I usually give myself 60 seconds to get a dig, and then I have to move on. But I'm going to try to get a dig, because these secret tunnels have some of the best treasure chests in Jets of Time, and we're going to see what's in them. So I usually just come in and then reset the room. Oh. And I like to run around a little bit so that if I get a dig, I have a better chance of hearing it when I'm not like already going back through the door and thus losing it. Okay, this is a good one. Let's see, I think it's... Do we have to go behind? You can also get double digs, but not... That one wasn't in the one I'm in, but we heard it. So, a demon hit. That's a pretty good sword for Frog. Of course, we already have the Grand Leon, but that's how it goes. Fire 2 will generally wipe the screen in the Reptite Lair. Ah, a Lapis dropped from that fight. I don't know if it was the plants or the bugs, but that's good. Okay, second room will also have a treasure chest. Speed tab! And that's why we get secret tunnels. One speed tab, absolutely worth it, in my opinion. Other things you might get in here could include, like, prism specs, prism helms, really anything that starts with prism is good. You might find the kind of equipment that protects from status effects, which is a big thing, but I'll talk about that a little later because it's more of a late game thing. So there's a chest here behind this guy. Just try to avoid the running reptites. You can run away from them if they catch you. And also, you can't get caught if you're not moving. So this chest, you kind of... I'm going to see if I can get it. Get yourself into the corner, turn to face, and click A. And then from here, you need to run up immediately as you enter the room, and then let the cave ape turn around, and then pass him in the bottleneck. It's a little bit fast. So again, I recommend watching Moonblizzard's skip video, which is on the guide section of the wiki, as well as in the guides channel on our Discord. He will explain it in much greater detail. He also has a really great guide called News First Seed, where he basically 100%s a seed and takes you through all of the checks. I'm kind of doing a more basic overall game knowledge run. But that one is particularly in-depth. Okay, I'm gonna shelter and save. And we're gonna be fighting Nizbel. Now, so normally... the trick with Nizbel is that, like many dinosaurs, using lightning elemental damage on him will shock him, and that'll take his turn away for a couple of rounds as well. The unfortunate thing is that, well, Magus didn't get any lightning, Robo doesn't have shock, and Chrono has learned all of his non-lightning techs and none of the lightning techs. So, we're just gonna have to do this in a slightly trickier way, and Chrono's gonna be an alchemist. We're gonna be using, probably just Fire 2. It's good to know the ideal strategies, but you don't always have that as an option, sadly. I'm not sure what kind of damage Rocket Roll is, actually. Is it physical or is it non-elemental? Let's try it. Just because I don't need to heal right this second. Probably not worth it. So, Nizbel 2, I think is 4,500, if not he's 5,000. So... yes, thank you. Rocket Roll is shadow damage. And of course, without being able to shock Nizbel, we also can't lower his physical defense. Let's see. And in a round, I definitely recommend doing something close to what I'm doing, which is set your attacks to go off. And then if you need to do stuff with items, do that while the attacks are going off, because you can take advantage of wait mode, especially if you need to actually read menus. And that way, if the battle ends and you weren't counting HP, which in this case I wasn't, you do the damage before you use up your consumables. Ah, he's dropped a power seal, which is a pretty good accessory. Probably that's gonna go to Chrono. And we're gonna get the key item, which looked like the gate key, but is a clone. Alright. So, now that Reptite Lair is done, where we are at is we have one piece of the Magus' Castle Go mode, which is Frog, but we're going to try not to take that route. We effectively have 2 pieces of Lavos Go mode via Tyranno Lair, because we know that Dreamstone is sitting in Snail Stop, and we now have 2 pieces of Black Omen Go mode, which is the Pendant and the Clone. Alrighty. Shall we head to, maybe Sunken Desert? Oh, I need to pick up my medicine from Fritz, too. I am definitely this sort of... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Sunken Desert and utilize that Robo from the future.
Mm-hmm.
Use, like, the sphere stuff.
Yeah. Sunkern Desert. But I don't have any leaf stones. Or sunstones, because I don't remember what they use. Alright, so Fritz gave us 10 mid-ethers for free, and as you will note, his shop is actually one of 2 that is guaranteed to sell lapises. As you can see, they're hella expensive at 10k a pop, but you can get them. So you can also use an equip menu from shops if you click down. So I'm just gonna like look my characters over real quick. Top and helmet. The time hat's not that much better, so that's fine. I'm hoping I can replace that vest. And I don't really have much of an accessory for her. I guess she can have the bandana for extra speed. An Eon Blade, I think... Oh, it's equal, actually, to a slasher, but without the speed. The Rainbow Helm is quite good. We're gonna leave that on. Go from Mesomail to White Mail, which absorbs lightning, which can come in handy against both final bosses, actually. And then we're gonna give him a power seal to jack his power up a whole bunch. And I'll give Robo some speed too. I don't have much in the way of accessories. And I'm gonna take the time right now to sell a few things. You don't need to do this that many times in a seed, but it usually helps me if my inventory is a little cleaner. And now I've got a ton of money when I need it. Alright. So we've got the mid-ethers. Alright, and now we're gonna do Sunken Desert. Alright. So, this is, again, because we don't have Boss Rando on, we want a specific team. We want a team that has some full-screen water damage on it, and we want a pretty physical team. So I am replacing Luca with Frog for this fight only. And I'm gonna grab the chests in here. Included in many of Moon Blizzard's guide is a video guide on how to navigate the Sunken Desert. And you can watch that for a much better explanation. but there are a lot of battle triggers in here, and of course they're all completely invisible. That said, if you need to do some early game grinding, this place is pretty dangerous unless you have, for example, Ice 2 or Water 2. That will wipe the floor with everything in here, and you can get some early levels. So I'm gonna grab the treasure, see if I get anything fun. Also, while in vanilla the boss moves around, in Jets of Time the boss will always be in the upper right corner. And if you're careful, you can get this chest without waking him up first, but it's mostly a swag thing, so don't worry about it too much. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna lower its defense and its evasion with some water. And then we're gonna hit it with the only damage it takes, which is physical. And Robo's just learned Uzi Punch. I believe each piece of Retinite in its vanilla position has about 1500 HP, so this is gonna go quick. And because this is gonna go quick, I'm gonna wait for Chrono to get his turn back real quick because... Actually, no, I need to toss Chrono an Ether. And then I'm gonna wait for Robo again because I want to kill the core. The core will run away fairly quickly after you defeat the other two pieces, but if you kill the core, and again, only physical damage will harm the core, you'll get double the experience and tech points. So I just want to queue, like, everything right now. It does give you a message, runs away when the core is lost. You'll know if you got it if you get 40 and 4,000 versus 20 and 2,000. And it looks like it dropped me some tabs, so that makes me happy. Alright, I'm gonna bring Luca back in. Actually, I'm just gonna put her in front because that's where I've had her, and that's where I remember her being, is in first position. And now all the monsters are gone, so you can clear out the rest of the desert. If you've already got all the chests, there's still a power tab that doesn't appear until the boss is gone. And now we go visit Fiona. To finish the check, we're going to drop off Robo. Except through the magic of randomizers, he will still remain in our party. Switch to 1000 AD. And pick him back up. And this nun is a shop. This is the other shop that will always have lapises for sale. And, you know, there's some decent stuff here, but nothing I necessarily want to spend the money on, I think. So that done with, we grab Robo, Paradox Robo, and he'll give us a key item. And at this point we're going to start hoping pretty heavily for Go mode. And it's the ruby knife. Okay, that's, well, that's no mode, as we call it in the randomizer world, which is to say the Dreamstone is here. So this is why we check Snail Stop, this is why we remember Snail Stop. I would actually say that most seeds I do not buy the Snail Stop item. So just take note of that, I suppose. Now, all of these items still have a use. We have enough items for Go mode. I'm going to really quick take a look at my inventory. I want more than 6 shelters, I think. Not too many more. And I think I'll go to a shop and buy a couple more lapises. Like, that's probably enough, but... I usually use 5 or 6 in the Ocean Palace, I feel like. Okay. Just a couple more honestly helps. Probably 11 Knit Ethers is enough. They really help you save time, especially in that Black Tyranno fight we have coming up. I totally spaced out. What was I gonna do? I was gonna do one. Oh yeah, I was gonna show off something that is sort of important to the community, which is how to validate your run. But first, I'm gonna do a quick heal. So in terms of free heal spots, Chronos House is a nice one because it only has 1 bed, so it would be awkward to animate people coming out of the bed, so it's faster. But we also like to pet the cat, because we say that that's how you validate your run in the Jets community, so be sure to pet the validation cat. I actually haven't updated my emo tracker for the validation cat yet, but we're getting that feature in. I believe it was just completed. All right.
It is complete. You can have that in there. I have yet to update mine.
Yeah. All right. So, because we are in go mode, we are in Tyranno go mode. So, here we are. You know, I feel fairly okay with my equipment. I'd rather that vest was something else, but if I need to put her in something stronger for Lavos, I have that option. I have some tabs left, actually, so this will speed her up enough to put her in better gear, actually. I'm going to continue to split the magic tabs, and I'm going to give Chrono the power tabs, as usual. Because now we can put her in that Lumen Robe, definitely, because it has magic defense, and speed 14. Alright. So, Tyranno Lair. Yes, this go mode is Gate Key, Dreamstone, and Ruby Knife. And so the Dreamstone we're going to use downstairs. The Gate Key we have already used to access prehistory, because that's the first step. So we're done with that. The Dreamstone is different from vanilla. We don't use it to repair the sword. We use it to unlock the upper floors of the Tyranno Lair, actually. So I'm going to show you how to do that. There's no need to take these fights. Just run. They are unavoidable, though. Alright, so you're going to come into the jail cell in the back here. This is where Kino would have been in vanilla. And hit the switch, and it'll tell you that you have set the Dreamstone, and a gate opened somewhere. So basically, the Dreamstone replaces Kino. So we're gonna run over here. Stay flush with these skulls when you're running in here. Those apes will run up to catch you. Alright, we're gonna come left, and you want to hit that button. So line yourself up so you're going to hit it, because otherwise those guys will engage you in a fight. Out here, you just don't get hit. You wait a second, and they'll move away from you. You should be able to run right over. Now, this room. There is a way to route through this room, but I'm going to show you the quick and dirty way, and we'll have the teachers in the coming weeks route through. The quick and dirty way, up left. As you might know, this is the room that teleports you all over the place, but up left, that'll just get you through it. You can get that one chest. If you want to get more of the chests, and they are good chests because this is a go mode dungeon, then we will have resources to show you the routing through that room as well. Alright, so the balconies. As I'm sure everyone knows, they're full of invisible encounters, so I'm going to do a save state just to make sure. So I go up here, I'm going a little slower than normal, and then I come down to where you can sort of see the bricks are a little bit wider on top than they are on the bottom, the like sort of turquoisey ones, and line myself up with this line and come across to here. And then you can go up into the room safely. Now, The mnemonic is right for Tyranno, because it's the right button for Tyranno lair, but it's the left button in Giant's Claw. So L for Claw, R for lair. Because Giant's Claw, as you may know, we didn't do it this seed, but it is the Tyranno lair hundreds of years, or millions actually, in the future, buried. Okay, so I'm going to come back. It's the same row of pixels. I'm going to line myself up down here, and I'm going to save my state, because this is a really hard skip. You need to, like, glance off the top, or you glance off the side of the doorway that's above me, and then you need to hit a button. You just need to hit A. So I'm going to hit A. Yeah, I did it. So you glance off the door, and then as you're entering the door, you hit A. So I'm going to make another save state. And then I'll show you what happens. This is what happens when you do it wrong. So that one is tight, takes a lot of practice, and a lot of even like experienced runners don't necessarily get that one all the time. Now, do I actually need a shelter? I don't think I do. Okay. All right. We of course still have no lightning for Nisbel number 2. Which is okay, we're just, you know, gonna have to use fire again. Nisbel 2 operates a lot like original flavor Nisbel. The difference is that while you can shock him to lower his defense like normal, it won't take his turns away. And you have to continually shock him to lower his physical defense. But it's only his physical defense, so while the fire attacks I'm doing are raising his physical defense, as long as I keep using magic, it won't ruin the efficacy of said magic. And honestly, I am just saving my turns on Chrono and Robo because eventually he's going to hit me harder and I'm going to need to heal. So I'm just going to have them ready for when I need it. Or for when Luca needs MP. We're still okay, though. Whoops. Okay. There's 46 tech points and a silver stud. That ought to help us a little bit. Alright. I'm gonna give Luca that silver stud. Well, actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna give Chrono the silver stud. Oh, he's got a power seal, though. Now, see, this is a very live, deliberation over who gets what accessory. I'll go ahead and let Chrono keep the power seal. I have mid-ethers to toss him. Alright, out here, balcony number 2. So, down for the first half. Let's see if I can do this right, because it's hard to do slowly. Down for the first half, then up for the second half, then down. All the way down on the second side. Then into this room. Run forward, hit that button for a save point. Just manually, you'd hit A to open this particular mouth. Open the gate with that switch. I'm going to come over here. Let her have a time hat. Let's see. We could probably use a shelter now. Yep. Save. And then, now, so those switches are bad news bears, and their hitboxes are obnoxious. So I'm lining myself up in the tunnel to make sure that I'm not hitting them. I'm going to come all the way back down to be safe. Line myself up here. And then, as far as I know how it works, you run up, hit A in sort of in the middle of the walkway, and the big fat dinos won't fall on you. That, or you just line yourself up and they won't fall. But I always hit the button. Okay. And now we're heading in to Black Tyranno, which is a pretty serious boss fight. And the thing to know about Black Tyranno, I'll stop and talk about it here, is that Black Tyranno's HP always randomized, not just in boss rando. So this guy is going to have rolled between, oh god, what is it, 8,000 and 13,000 hit points. So the way the fight goes while he's counting down can really be different depending on if he rolled low or high. Now, I know I've got Fire Sword 2s for at least about 2,000. So on a low roll, I only need about 4 of them. I will hopefully be okay. But going into the fight, it's hard to say. The other thing is that his breath weapon, the element is randomized. He may show it to me if he gets an attack before I knock him into the next battle phase, which will happen once I defeat Azala. But when you're quick to defeat Azala, and she's fairly squishy, so that doesn't take too long. Okay. I think that means it's fire, because I think he would have cast regular lightning if not. But the first thing you need to do is take Azala out, because if you don't take her out, first of all, it'll take a lot longer for Black Tyranno to drop his defense. And second of all, when he does, she will still be there and you'll be dealing with her. Luca. I pretty much need Luca. That should do Azala. Azala has about 2,000, might be like 1,800. Okay, and then you'll have a little bit of time. Black Tyranno needs to drop his defense first. This time can be used for buffs if you need them. I might... Robo is kind of my healer, so I'm going to let him have a barrier, which will help him survive the attack. Okay, removes defense and is storing power is the message you're waiting for. Okay. 200 and... can wait. Chrono can do one more. And this is definitely where I'm a little nervous because of tech order not being the best in this particular seed. And that stack of mid-ethers is the reason I'm able to keep Chrono going as efficiently as I am. And that is why I got them. I did elect to have him keep the power seal and gave Luca the silver stud because I was a little concerned about my damage output, actually, and even now I'm a little worried. Because here's 0. Now, I'm pretty sure Robo's gonna be okay. But yeah, as we can see, the other 2 are not. I'm gonna toss a revive to Luca, who I think is a little faster. It's true that her bar hasn't been filling up as fast, but that's because of a ATB penalty, which is a fun thing this game does. I'm gonna Lapis, then revive, it's safer. Even though it would have been more efficient, I didn't know when Black Tyranno was going to take the opportunity to chew somebody up, which eventually he is going to do. Yep. But the nice thing is, I've gotten through that, and it's really unlikely that I'm going to have to eat another breath weapon with the damage that Fire Sword 2 is outputting. Even with a slightly raised defense after the attack goes off. And look, a Giga Arm. That's so good, because a Giga Arm is a really nice weapon for Robo, and better than the one I've got on him. And so, honestly, what you just saw was not the ideal Black Tyranno fight. And if you're in a situation like I was, where your damage output's been like, throughout the seed, you know, you don't want to see that breath weapon go off. You want to defeat it before it does. That is absolutely the best way, but it's not always the way it's going to happen. And so if it's not going to happen, use your barriers, you know, be cognizant of who your, like, tanky characters are. Like, I'm using Robo, and he's the tankiest, but if you're not, you know, it might be Chrono, it might be Ayla. You can use earrings to give characters more maximum HP so that they can soak the damage. If you're able to figure out what the element of the breath weapon is, which unfortunately often requires you to have lost to Black Tyranno once already, you can equip gear that will soak that element, which can be really helpful too. Alright. With Black Tyranno taken care of, we're gonna head up to 12,000. Because that dumps us into Zeal. So you can visit Inhasa if you'd like. I'm gonna go straight to Kajar. There's not much in Inhasa. There is a shop. You can do the new fight. So running over that panel, actually, let me just point that out again. That's a full heal. Just get the sound and you're healed. So you can actually see it up in the window, the sparkle up top. There it is. That's the clue that there's a speed tab right here. So I'm getting the speed tab because I get every speed tab, and I always, you know, other tabs, I think there's sort of a lot of back and forth on whether they're good, they're not good. I always recommend speed tabs. And then we're gonna look at these new shops. I'm gonna, like, because I'm not in a hurry, I'm gonna reset the music. Because if you get the speed tab as fast as you can and walk out, that's what happens. So this is the, like, medium quality news shop, the one from the right side. Shields, mid-ethers. Yeah, okay. So if I have money left over, I might get some mid-ethers. But the good news shop is this one. And this is the shop that you always want to check, especially because it will always sell amulets. And status protection is going to be really important coming up because Lavos uses a random status effect through obstacle. In vanilla, it would always be confuse. In Jets, it's random, and you do not want your party getting hit by triple stop. If it is stop, we don't know. That said, Magus comes with an amulet, and I've got a Vigil hat on Robo. So I'm going to take that amulet off of Magus, and actually I'm going to give it to Luca for now. If she learns Flare, then I'll be in a different position, and maybe I'll want that Silver Stud back. But that lets Chrono keep the Power Seal, because he's my, like, big physical damage. That lets Robo keep his Vigil hat. The Vigil hat protects him from status effects, and anytime you can get status protection not in the accessory slot, that's great, because you can put something else in the accessory slot. I guess he can have this, but and that way, you know, Luca, as long as I'm only using Fire 2, that's only 8 a pop instead of 20. So I think that's my accessory setup for now. And yeah, as Moonblizzard says in chat, the new shop is actually quite random, and that's not a very good one, but sometimes it's like off the chain. That shop can have prism equipment, it can have rainbows and wonder shots, and everybody's ultimate weapons. Let's equip that Giga Arm, and I'm gonna buy, gosh. I mean, part of me, oh, the hypers are expensive and mids are good, so I'm just gonna buy up mid ethers, and then I'm gonna say let's go. Whoops. I think I need a new controller. I'm gonna look at my text again real quick, but okay, no. Okay. I'm gonna save the game here. Don't need to shelter, and I'm taking note of my level 25, 24, 25, because soon we're gonna be deciding what level we go for the final boss at. Alright, so, Golem. Golem is the vanilla boss in the throne room, and we will later be fighting the Golem twins. Now, there are several ways to mitigate Golem, which is otherwise kind of a nasty boss. Boogie just got brought up in chat. Boogie is, of course, a double tech between Robo and Ayla, which will stop everything on the screen. Conveniently, the Golems are vulnerable to every status effect except for Chaos, so Provoke won't work with Marl, but Stop works, Sleep works, etc. I'm not going to be putting this one to sleep with Luca, because there's only one of them and it's going to wake up when I hit it. However, I am going to be using Sleep on the double boss, probably, in hopes of keeping one asleep while I beat the other one down. Especially with bosses that have like death counters, as the golems do, and the twins especially are nasty with that. You don't want to you don't always want to take two of them in the face unless you're like really confident. Now the other thing is, Golem uses attacks based on what you hit it with last, so it always starts on physical. Uzi Punch is going to keep it on physical. The trick is that the first things in its script on either fire or ice are merely a single target level 1 attack. So if I leave him on fire after this, or her, I forget. The twins are sisters, but I don't know about this one. I will only get hit by fire 1 character. See, no big. And then to reset it, you do something that isn't fire or ice, but I'm using fire in this case, and then fire again. Hey, there's Heal Beam. Alright, and this will take us to the Ocean Palace, which is our final dungeon. Because Lavos will not be defeating us today. Although that is an option, sort of, and I'll talk about that when we get there. Alright, so the main things about the Ocean Palace are the grinding spot and the elevator. So this is just routing at first. You have to hit that button to open a door. I'm going to run from this fight. And then, so if you move out at all, these guys will catch you. So you just want to go down and over. That said, if you want to fight them, you can, because the scouts need to get hit by their color. Oops, I used Fire Sword and not Fire 2, but it'll kill them. So the red scouts, you can only destroy them with fire. Well, or physical, but like as far as element goes. Just throw a napalm at it. Basically, if you take this fight, you can also run away from it. You can get the treasure chest. Dropped a lapis, so I'm happy about that. Terra arm again. Or, no, I had a Giga arm. Terra is even better. Alright, then come through here. Unlike that other side room, the guys up there won't just, like, jump out and catch you. They're on a, like, timer. You gotta hit this button. You can come over here for the chest, or not, but... And then these guys are probably gonna dip again. Just go around them. And then come this way. And down here, you can absolutely get that chest up there if you want. I feel pretty okay with my equipment. Alright, so this battle, this is the grind spot. And that is because, gosh, I think, come on. I'm actually wondering if this is my best screen wipe right now. But, this fight gives something like 2,000-ish experience points and 80 tech points. It is the most efficient battle to grind off of in the entire game. 2,600 experience, yes. Now, I'm gonna look at my levels. 27, 25, 27. Now, I often go for Lavos at a pretty low level. I might fight him around level 29 or 30, which often means leaving the grind spot at about 26 and taking all the fights. I'm gonna see if Fire 2 is enough by itself. Usually you want something like Flare for this particular... Yep. But, that is entirely up to comfort. So, for this run, I'm going to do what's sort of, I think, considered somewhat average or standard, and I'm gonna grind to about 30. And that means we'll fight Lavos anywhere between 33 and 35, probably. It is also worth noting that this fight here, this grind fight, is lined up in such a way that you can use some of the text that don't necessarily hit the full screen but hit all the area around you, which is what I've been doing. Since my Fire 2 isn't enough to do it by itself, I'm just using Fire Zone. If you don't one-shot everything in this fight, the Blade Master guys can counterattack you, and I mean, so even if the counterattacks don't kill you, they take a lot of time, and no one wants to sit through that. Okay. So, 28, 27, 28, and look, Flare is the last tech. Of course it is. And there's Robo-Tackle. Robo-Tackle, even though our meta has given Robo-Tackle a much-needed nerf lately, don't sleep on Robo-Tackle, it's actually still quite good. And Fire Tackle, Ice Tackle, wonderful. And actually, the nice thing about Robo-Tackle is it's very efficient. It's a lot of damage for only like 6 MP. Heal a little bit. Yes, it is as Moon Blizzard says in chat. Robo needs to be in 3rd position for Fire Zone and Max Cyclone to be used in this encounter. In fact, I could possibly just be using Max Cyclone. See what that does. This is actually one of the... Because of the way it's lined up, there are a lot of things that wouldn't normally work, and you can get creative. Actually, can someone remind me if Max Cyclone will hit the scouts on the elevator, the 3rd fight? That I don't remember. I was gonna use Frog Squash as a backup.
It will hit them, but you just have to know where to put Robo.
Yep, and I don't remember because rarely do I do that, but... so she doesn't get hurt. Because they were totally about to smack her. Yeah. But, once I'm done with the grind, we'll talk about the elevator, because the elevator's the other big thing. Alright, 30, 29, 30. I'll do one more fight. But, it's true I would normally leave at about 26. What I will say, though, is... in the end, you kind of gotta grind to where you're comfortable, and... once you get used to that, what I recommend is start taking it down. Like, if you usually grind to 30, and you've had a lot of good Lavos fights lately, next time, grind to 29. And once you feel comfortable with that, start grinding to 28, and just so on and so forth. Let's see, that said, I need Frog. And who do I need Frog in place of? Maybe you, I don't know. Or actually no, because Chrono's the lowest level. So let's do it this way. I need Frog in the front of the party. Okay. So I'm gonna come... so you can go under these guys and skip them, but I'm gonna take them. Also, chat, please feel free to direct questions to me if you want. Like, I'm happy to field them. I forget what I'm doing. It's probably wrong. And yeah, this is what happens if you don't have a screen wipe, which I, you know... Alright, moving on. Now down here. What I'm doing is that when Frog is getting hit by this, it's taking his HP down. As you can see, it's already pretty low. I don't think I have an earring to raise his max HP, but what I'm doing is making sure that he learns Frog Squash, which he should by the elevator. And Frog Squash is going to get us through those elevator fights. We can test it now. No, we can't because he didn't learn it yet, duh. Yeah. But luckily, we've got enough levels that Fire 2 now does it. Should learn Frog Squash off of this one. Let's see if I get the glitch. Nope, the Omnicron was quick today. Sometimes he slows down and it's a little disconcerting. What? Not Water 2. Dang it. Okay. Anyway, that's why you click the right one. Okay. Oops. Okay, now I'm trying to dodge these guys. Whoops, need to get on the save point. Okay. Now I'm not sheltering. Because Frog's HP needs to be low for Frog Squash to do damage. I'm gonna fill up MP though. And save. Okay. Gonna come out here. So this fight is before the elevator is on. You can run. If you take it, you can just Frog Squash, but it probably is better to just run. And then you activate the elevator. Now the tricky thing is we're going to be leaning on Frog Squash. Frog is not my fastest character, and I didn't really have anything to make him be my fastest character, so we're going to have to keep an eye on him. The other thing to note is that because this battle has the Jin and Barghest in it, one of these guys is going to be left over for us to have to beat to death. Like, the way to mitigate that, actually, is I believe the Luca-Ayla Fire World that pierces defenses will take out that particular encounter in one go, but we couldn't get Ayla this seed, sadly. Now this one, I'm going to pause and point out, I'm going to use Frog Squash because it's convenient and I'm confident it will do the damage I need to wipe it, but you'll notice that because it only has a yellow scout, which is called a scouter, you can wipe this with lightning damage. So you can wipe this if you've got like a strong Luminaire or Shock or Super Volt. The first one, the one before this, can also be wiped with any element. You can use like Flare or Dark Matter or stuff like that on it. It's this last one with the 6 scouts of differing colors that is really dicey, and unfortunately they're fast. So we're gonna see how Frog fares here. If I had had a speed belt, I would have given it to him. Okay, so I actually got that in before they did any attacks, which is nice. That doesn't always happen. And that's the last one. Come up here. Now, note that that door might actually catch you if you're dashing. You might have to walk through it. Okay, scout skip. I can't always do this, so let's see if I can do it today. You come up, you walk, and it'll knock you right back. Hit the button. Now, the trick is you need to kind of walk along the edge like that, come down, and then sneak out. What I was doing was holding left, or not holding left, but holding right, and then I sort of, while I was holding right, hit down a little bit with my thumb, but then let go of down so that I would just sort of sneak around the corner. But once you sneak around the corner, the scouts will notice you, and once that happens, then you need to hold the B button and run. But if you've got the B button held down to run, you can't get past them. So it's tricky. What I will say is if you're having trouble with scout skip, the first part is usually pretty easy, and you can also run out if you do that on accident. So if you can at least do this part, you still save time. And those scout fights, typically, if you've still got someone who can frog squash or dino tail, that's a move of Ayla's. It works exactly the same way. You can use that. You can hit them with single elemental attacks if you feel like it. Got one power tab. Okay. We're gonna now bring Robo back. Gonna shelter, take a look at gear. Yes, it is true. Scouts sometimes have good drops. A lot of the stuff in Ocean Palace does. So if you notice a good drop off of a certain enemy, you can absolutely take more fights. And you know, I'm taking more time than I usually would to look at all my equipment. Yeah, the Eon suit instead of the flash mail, that's what we want. White mail, black mail, all the same. Alright, and I used a shelter. Do we have any more tabs? We've got a couple. Save the game. And twin golem fight. Now, this is gonna be interesting. First thing I want to do is Hypno Wave. I don't remember if they're far enough apart for me to only fire a sword to one of them or not, and I'm gonna find out in just a sec.
No, it got moved to be further apart, so we can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just, you know, but yeah, it's fine. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we want to leave it on fire, and damage is gonna wake it up, so I'm gonna Uzi Punch first, and then... Yeah, and this fight, when you're in boss rando, that can vary a little bit because some bosses move around and some are stationary, so if you've got ones that run around the field, it can get a little funky. Okay. Alright. Hit it with Uzi Punch, reset, and we're good. Okay. I'm not sure if this will kill it or not, and I'm a little concerned at Chrono's HP, but I'm gonna heal him. Yeah, we'll see what this does. These ones are strong, so, yep. Now, luckily, the other one is still asleep. So we're just gonna use a revive. Don't have very many left, but hopefully won't need them for Lavos. I don't usually use very many. So I'm gonna go ahead and wake him up and get the cycle going. But yeah, watch for death counters in the twin spot. They will often do a lot more damage than you are expecting. Golem twins will do it if you're playing non-boss rando or with vanilla settings. But also like Yakro the 13 can be very dangerous here. That's something to always remember. And there's Flare, and a Dash Ring, and Shock, and Super Volt, and all the things that we really wanted an hour ago. But that's how it goes sometimes. Alright. Now, I'm gonna mention, just for the sake of it, that if you don't want to go back and save, there's a menu glitch that you can use right before you fight Lavos. But if you were to miss it, you'd probably be in trouble. So I suggest coming back and sheltering and saving. I mean, I don't know. Sure. Let's give Robo the Dash Ring. I haven't really gotten a lot more equipment that I want to turn around. So, new aside moment. So I'll give a shot at showing off the menu glitch that's here. It's not, this isn't the one that people rely on. That's the next one. Ruby knife doing its job. The ruby knife is also the key item that opened the sealed door to the throne room in Zeal, actually. Alright, screen goes completely black, hit menu. And so this one is just kind of like an Easter egg one. We don't usually use this because we usually just heal at the save point because, you know, in case we have to reset out of this fight, it's better to have the save point. But, you know, if you start the cutscene and then you're like, oh crap, I forgot to equip a thing, you can equip the thing. It's okay. And here we go. This is Lavos 1. Now this is the Lavos 1 that is normally in the Ocean Palace. This isn't the, like, gauntlet version that you would fight in 1999. And actually, as in vanilla, you're allowed to use this fight, to lose this fight, rather. And what that will do is dump you out in the new 12,000, and you'll be able to visit the new shop again in the last village, and you can save, and you can try again through the bucket gate, or you can crash the epic into Lavos. Alright, here comes Obstacle. I should have status protection on Robo and Luca, but Chrono might get hit. Okay, he did get hit. It's lock, and that's nice because it's not bad at all. So we toss a heal, and he's fine. Now the next attack is going to do a lot of damage, and because I tossed a heal at Chrono using Robo, I'm going to have him use a Lapis, and I'm going to have Luca wait because I might want to heal again. I think I'm okay. And I like to have my menu ready just to do my next thing. Obstacle doesn't do a lot of damage, so I should be able to take that, and then that'll do like medium damage. heal beam. So, this form of Lavos has 12,000 HP. And normally I would be counting, but admittedly, because I've been talking, I have not been counting. But yeah, that did it. I knew we were close. Alright, so... One Lavos down. If you do need to leave and go shopping, you can use that gate. But I think that I'm pretty set. I mean, I don't have very many revives, but Chrono does no life, and I'm gonna try it because usually I can do Lavos without too many deaths. And I'm at a lot higher level than usual. Alright, Lavos 2. Lavos 2 has two phases, basically. The arm phase and the main phase. So, first is the arm phase. He's gonna make us bask in the, like, glorious, dazzling gleam of his nipples. And I'm actually gonna pause it right here to talk a little bit, because right after he does this, not right after, I'm gonna get a couple turns, but as you can see, he just dumped a pretty good amount of damage on me, and right after this, each of the arms is going to shoot blades at one of my characters. Some people like to try to kill one of the arms right away, and only take one blade attack as a result. And then they'll heal afterwards. I usually play defensively and heal first, and then try to take out the arms. But the main thing is that you need to know that the left arm, and I'm talking the player's left, not Lavos' left. So the arm on my left has 4,000 HP. The arm on my right has 5,000 HP. If you can't one-shot them, heal. If you think you can, maybe go for it, but if you can't, like, don't try. You need to heal up, go defensive. If you're at full health and nobody gets hit with both blades, that's only a 1 in 6 chance that the same person gets hit, then you should be okay. So I'm going to Fire Sword to the arm, but I don't think it's gonna die. I'm gonna have Robo heal. Hopefully he's fast enough. And if he's not, we learned a lesson, and that's why I took the risk, actually. Nope, he's fast enough. I think you need to be at, like, about 11 or something to get in front of Lavos, but I'll need to double check that. Alright. 1, 2, and luckily, normally it would be really awful if Lavos hit the same person, but Robo can take it. So I'm just gonna have him, since he only needs to heal himself, use a full tonic. This battle is where all those, like, consumables we've been collecting start to really shine. So Fire Sword 2 on the other arm, plus Uzi Punch. I think that's kind of what we've got. I could... Let's see. So, you know, it heals the main body, which we haven't actually really damaged, so whatever. Now, that's the unfortunate thing that can happen if the arms are alive too long, but it is what it is with my damage output this seed. You don't want that, because what Protective Seal does is... What disables defensive status more like means is any of your equipment that protect from status effects, like, oh, that amulet Luke is wearing, now it doesn't work. So if obstacle comes up, she can get hit by that. Okay, now this probably kills it. Okay. So, no, we're okay. I'll just give Luca a mid-tonic. After the arms are dead, you need to wait for obstacle to go off. Lavos is going to use obstacle, and he's not going to be vulnerable until he uses it, so at this point, heal if you need to, but otherwise, just wait. And we know it's lock, which means that anyone afflicted is going to be able to handle it. So that's good. Okay, so just for the sake of it, I'm going to compare Fire Tackle to Fire Sword 2 right now. It's probably not going to be as good, but we'll see, because Roba has better weapons, but Chrono got the power tabs, so... Okay, so it's a little lower, and then... But what does Confuse do by itself? So this is... Well, we don't know because Chrono needs MP, but that's something that you can think about when you're playing. When you're using a double tech and then a single tech to do damage, sometimes certain configurations of that within the same party are going to be better than others. So it's absolutely something good to pay attention to. Okay, now Luca got poisoned by that Shadow Slay. I'm going to heal her because that nerfs some of her damage, actually. But otherwise, like, I wouldn't really care. Now, the other thing is, Shadow Slay happened, so this Lavos, when he wakes up, he does Obstacle, then he does Shadow Slay, then he's gonna do a move called Flame Battle, which is Fire 1. After this, we're gonna see Shadow Doomblaze, and that is the big attack that you generally don't want to see. I'm gonna hope that my damage output is enough that I don't have to see it, because this guy only has 10,000 on the main body. But sometimes it's a close thing. Yep. With Chrono out of MP, that was kind of common. It's gonna do a lot, but we're gonna be okay, yeah. Now, okay. Once again, that's sort of the, like, yeah, you don't want to see Shadow Doomblaze. However, after you see Shadow Doomblaze, it's gonna be a while before he does anything to you. So you do have time to recover. I need item. I'm gonna have Chrono a Hyper Ether. And I think this Fire Sword 2 should do it. If it doesn't, like, one more. Nope, that did it. Okay. Flea Vest, Red Mail, Prism Specs. Alright. That is perfect that he dropped Prism Specs because we're gonna talk about the menu glitch now. I might need to, like, pause my emulation, though, because I don't think I can do it with the start button. Okay. I'm pausing my emulator. Menu glitch. So this is a big part of Jets of Time. We used the menu glitch. I showed it off a little bit. I did it on Xenon Bridge, and I did it when I kicked off the cutscene before Lavos 1. But the menu glitches that really count are before Lavos 3 and Zeal 2. Now, the Zeal 2 one, well, we're not seeing it in this run, it's also a lot easier. But the basic idea is you wait for the screen to fade out to black, and then you hit your menu button. For this particular ROM, we have our free menu glitch turned on, and that gives you a couple of extra frames, so it won't be too hard. It's definitely something we maybe recommend you try a ROM without free menu glitch turned on and see if you can learn it. I mean, use save states to practice, it's completely fine. But what that menu glitch does is gives us the opportunity to heal between Lavos fights or Zeal fights, and that is very key sometimes. So the other good thing is because I got those Prism Specs, normally I wouldn't have a chance to equip them, but I'm gonna open up the menu with the menu glitch and equip them. So I'm gonna save my state just in case, but since I have free menu glitch on, I don't think that's gonna be a problem, and I rarely miss it. And to be honest, while I haven't made a tutorial video about it yet, you can actually get the Lavos one by sound. And I prefer doing it that way because the cutscene, there's no like text boxes to click through. Like, you're never in control. So it's always at the same time. But it's gonna go white, then black, and hit and hold your X button. I recommend holding it. That gives you just a couple extra like frames where the button is being input. Okay. So we got Prism Specs. We're going to be a little less defensive with Luca because of that, because she's losing her amulet, and Lavos 3 can inflict status effects. He can inflict any status effect he wants at that, so we'll see what happens. Robo still has his Vigil hat, though, so we'd have protection on somebody. I wouldn't go into this fight with, like, nothing, unless you just really want to gamble on it, which, you know, maybe, but not today, I think. I don't think I got any more tabs. Nope. So, I am going to... I think I will heal with Heal Beam because I don't have that many mid-tonics left, and I might want them. And then I can go through the rest of the ethers, the regular ethers. And this is kind of what I like to have happen, is run out of that initial pile of 50 ethers, and then I can use mid-ethers, and I've got plenty. 20 plus 2 full ethers plus 3 hybrid. Yeah, elixirs. I've got plenty of consumables here. This is totally enough. I've got only 1 revive, but I've got Chrono with life, so, you know, that's good. 9 lapises. This is very good shape, so I think we go for it. So this scene always happens if the free menu glitch is on. That's the extra frames, basically. And then we fade in. I'm gonna use center bit strats, which I think are gonna be safer right now. That just means that I'm gonna kill the center bit to get the right bit to drop its defenses. If anyone is in chat and doesn't know how Lavos basically works, I'm assuming everyone's played Chrono Trigger and, like, more or less understands the deal, but if you don't, let me know and I will explain it. I like to keep everyone super topped off before I kill a bit, because this can go wrong very quickly. And the center bit has 8,000, so 1 more Fire Sword 2 will take it out. Okay, and now we know that Lavos is in his Crying Heavens phase, which is terrible because he killed Luca, and we need her. Lavos 3 has 4 different scripts he can start doing. The first is a time warp to prehistory that opens with Grand Stone, which sucks. The second one is a time warp to 1000 AD where he opens with the one that gives everybody a random status effect. That also sucks. The third one is where he slaps you in the face, and that sucks too. And then the fourth one is lightning. They all suck, so, like... you know, some of them can be better than others depending on your particular setup, but none of them are particularly nice, so you just gotta do your best. There's actually, it wasn't written by anyone in our community that I'm aware of, but on Game Facts, there's a really good FAQ that just has all the enemy AI scripts, and for the most part, we didn't change those in Jets of Time. It's really handy to look at. Okay, so now we're waiting for that. We're waiting for Lavos Core shuts off defense. So, right now, if I were to use any full screen damage, or rather, were I to include the left bit in any damage, the left bit will do an X-Strike counterattack with the right bit against whoever did that attack, and it hurts. It hurts a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. So if you're doing center bit strats, if you can help it, you want to be hitting only the right bit. And the left bit absorbs all magic anyway. But now we're sort of just in it. We're going to be dealing as much as we can. So 3,500, this thing has 20,000. It's plus like 1,200, so what, 4,700? This is how I count, just on the fly. Alright, Chrono needs MP. So like 47 plus, I'm gonna call that 36, but now I have to do math fast. 53, 6,300, I guess. No, not 63. 83? Alright, so past the halfway point. He's gonna, yep. And then right about now, you should expect to be able to do, like, 1 to 3 rounds of damage to the bit, depending on when things went down. Now, I'm thinking that because my Fire Sword 2s are pretty strong, okay, because, so he's done active life, he's brought his bits back to life, but his defense is still down. So, at this point, you kind of have a choice. You can either keep wailing on that right bit, knowing that the center bit is gonna start, like, pulling crap soon, or you can play it safer. Now, because of the damage I've done, and knowing that, yes, I am at roughly 13k, thank you, knowing that, and knowing that I need to get to 20, I think I'm gonna try to go whole hog and just hope that center bit doesn't kill me. And if it does, then we will have had a really good example of why you need to play it cautious sometimes, because Lavos likes to do Lavos things, but also it's, like, faster to just go for it, so, you know, it's that choice. The core hit points. The left bit has 3k, the right bit has 20k, and the middle one has 8k. Alright, time. And thanks for that Mega Elixir, Lavos. Not that I got to use it. Alright, and are we playing... Now, I don't know if we're actually playing flashless, so flash warning. Okay, here come the flashes. Note that, actually, just recently, PseudoArk made some progress on flash removal. Apparently that's been kind of difficult for a while. I don't program it, I just listen to the programmers, so I relay all of that secondhand. But it looks like we might actually be getting rid of flash soon, which is good, because seizures are bad, and so are migraines. So that was a seed. That was kind of a basic seed, and while I think I was pretty rambly, my goal was kind of to take us through and survive and route and do all of that, choose equipment. If anyone has any more questions, please let me know. We're gonna get some of those asyncs up for you in the Discord really quickly here. And in the meantime, if you haven't joined our Discord, let's get a link for that in chat. You can join and get help. Especially during Camp Spekkio, we're here to help you. So we're going to be posting some asyncs. Some of them are going to be specifically for Camp Spekkio. We also have our weekly seeds, and you're totally encouraged to play those too. In terms of Camp Spekkio participation, we want you to be using those seeds, or at least we want you to complete those, not necessarily exclusively, but make sure you get those done. And they are asynchronous, so if you have any questions or anything while you are running those seeds, you can pause them. Pausing asyncs is allowed. It is explicitly allowed, just so you know. You can pause them, come ask questions. And the other thing we're doing, there's a post, I think it's pinned in the Camp Spekkio channel. If you react to that post, we'll get you the camper role so that we can ping you with notifications. Our streams, our basic streams, I say basic streams, our main streams are going to be at this time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. And we're going to have a quote-unquote extra credit / makeup stream every week. And that's going to vary because different people are going to be teaching those, so that's just going to be, like, instructor availability. Let me just double-check the schedule for this week. I believe the extra credit run is on Thursday. Yes, so the extra credit run will be on Thursday, July 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Cthulhu Crisis, and we're going to get that posted in Discord as well. We've got a feature we use in Discord that will convert timestamps to your own time zone. So if you see a Discord message that's highlighted with a time and date stamp, that means it's been converted for you. It's very useful. And yeah, next week we're gonna have Moon Blizzard with random bosses, and that's gonna be great too. You will also be seeing Cthulhu Crisis when he runs Legacy of Cyrus. You're gonna get to see one of the other Go modes because it requires Magus's Castle. And let's see, after that, we're gonna be teaching. This is not in any particular order, but the things you can look forward to include, we will cover duplicate characters, we'll cover Chronosanity, and we're going to cover, in some extra credit streams, some of our like novelty flags and modes as well. And we'll also teach you to deal with some of our like nastier, not standard flags, but popular flags like Boss Rando and dupe characters at the same time. But yes, ask us anything. No stupid questions, we promise. We're here to help. Especially, you know, if you wind up in Black Omen Go mode, you've never seen it before, we're happy to walk you through that. And I'm sure it will show up in one of our streams eventually. Gosh, anybody have any extra questions? I'll just play out the ending for a second. Lara's up. I think Luca's mom gets up if you've done Sunken Desert, even though you don't have to play through that scene. Yes. Is there anything else I should plug? I guess if you haven't seen the t-shirts, we have Camp Spekkio t-shirts. They were made kind of on a whim. If you buy them, I get a really, really tiny kickback that I just give to Jets of Time for various server costs. Mian, who is my husband, which most people know, but he's created like restreaming setup for us off of Amazon Web Services that once polished, we'll be able to basically have anybody be a restreamer without that person actually having to have a really good computer. So I think that's a pretty good cause. Oh yeah, in terms of the Go mode items and everything, I would really recommend everyone check out the wiki as well. If you look at the Jets information section on the sidebar, the first 3 are checks, key items, and Go modes. So in terms of what should you look at, what should you quote unquote study to help yourself, go to the wiki. First of all, there is a bunch of information and documentation, and there's also a guide section, and the guide section is where we host specific tutorials. So the guide section is where you'll find, for example, Moon Blizzard skip videos, which are great, and they're separated out by area, so you can learn one area at a time. He's got News First Seed. That's also really good. It takes you through every check. And then we've got all the documentation on the checks and items and characters and most of our changes from vanilla. There's still a lot of stuff needed to be added to the wiki, but we're working on it. Question, what does shop's normal flag mean? That means, let's see. Is that the... I need to pull up the thing again. I don't remember what tab shops are on, do you? General, okay.
Under the bottom, I think.
Okay. Just remember. Yes, so shop prices. Normal is just what we've set them to be, so that was what I was playing with. They're not all the same as vanilla, I think. I know that ethers are cheaper, for one. So normal basically is default, and what we just played with. You don't usually see the others that much, maybe in, like, mystery seeds. But free makes everything cost 1 gold, because you can't actually do 0, so we do 1. Mostly random and fully random shuffle the prices more a lot. Like, it's not yeah, it's the prices, not the items. Yep, and I think we should have a list of shops on the wiki too, and it'll tell you like what tier the shops are in as well. Most of them, like that we went through at the very beginning of the game, are the regular shops, and then I showed off a couple of the quote-unquote good shops. And then Kajar New and Black Omen New are the best shops. Whoops. I'm supposed to talk to you. Yeah, the shops were definitely a little lackluster today, and it happens. I've definitely noticed a few times that we've played co-op seeds. Often, you know, you send one person to the Black Omen, you send one person to the Ocean Palace, and one of them gets a good new shop, and the other one gets a terrible new shop. I think I'll leave the stream open for questions through the credits, and then we'll sign off. Question about the item displays showing stats rather than original text. By how do we have that set, do you mean, like, how did we do it? I think one of the programmers just went in and wrote them out. But,
Yeah, PseudoArk went in and got that to display for gear rando.
Yeah.
So it should be it might just be in the beta, not the other
it is,
generator.
Yeah, it's still beta, but a lot of our features are still beta. We're in kind of a weird spot right now with that, because I think we are going to be using beta features when we next do a tournament, but yeah. It should be turned on, well, it works even if you don't have gear rando, which is nice, because you don't have to guess what the cryptic text means anymore. But it does help with gear randomization, because gear rando can add, you know, all kinds of different stat bonuses, or, well, not stat penalties, but the gear itself can be weakened. So, it's helpful to know what happened. Yeah, we did recently roll in some features that were beta that I think are just usable now, but the beta site, as Aku just said in chat, is easily accessible. It's just beta.ctjot.com. I know I always say wiki, but it is linked on the front page of the wiki as well. And I'm pretty sure it's on the front page of the website. And we definitely encourage people to play with beta features. Just know that, you know, if you're getting a little creative, you might find something broken. If you do, please report it. Very helpful.
I know Ryan Twist in chat has found some broken stuff.
Mm-hmm. Up, and as as the credits scroll to a stop, I just want to thank everyone for coming, and Aku for being my backup, and all my other Camp Spekkio counselors who I'll just name everybody. Basically, thank you to Akuhaish and Azure Kale and Ritherix and Cthulhu Crisis and Moon Blizzard, who are going to be your other instructors, and to Mian and Pseudoark, who have been kind of overarching organizers. And Ansky for making Jets of Time, and, you know, also to the FF1 randomizer community, because we basically took a look at, like, their training program, and we were like, that's good, let's do it. So, yeah, here we are. So thanks everyone for being here. I'm glad that there was good turnout. And anyone who missed the beginning or anyone who missed the whole thing, there will be a VOD up as soon as we can. So we'll be linking that in Discord. And with that, the lullaby has started, and I think it's time to say goodnight. So I will see everyone. Well, I'll see you on Discord.